Hello, everyone. We are live. Hello, guys.
Hey guys, welcome back to Brent Adventure.
Hey,
Um,
everyone.
so I always feel like the name of the channel will eventually change. I'm
Yeah.
just like I had to come up with a name, at
Yeah.
some point. Um, anyway, today we're talking about Hollywood remakes. This is a big topic. This is something that is on a lot of people's minds. People are
Yeah.
talking about, in particular, Moana, the Odyssey,
Yeah.
Supergirl. These movies that have been made in the past in some way, shape, or form.
Mm-hmm.
And are we experiencing fatigue? And I think every single week a movie comes out and there's all this talk about how it's underperforming.
Yeah.
And so, and the budgets are getting bigger and bigger and bigger for a lot of these movies, in particular like Moana with $250 million.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk, we're not going to do a whole history thing. I watched a video essay on YouTube and it was hilarious. And this guy was like, but to understand this, we have to go back to the beginning. And he was like, just kidding, F that. And it was hilarious because he was like doing all the things that people do in video essays and then kind of saying, sweeping it under the rug, which I think is a clever thing to do because it's like going back to the beginning in some ways feels like, like reliving all of history is probably not the best approach, but like approaching some of them, absolutely.
Right.
But like movies first started, it's like, do we have to give a history lesson every single time? But Hollywood's remake machine, is it finally breaking? That's the question. So for years, the film industry has been dominated by sequels, reboots, remakes, legacy sequels, Disney live action remakes, superhero franchises, nostalgic IP. IP means intellectual property if you've been living under a rock, but if so, that's okay. Especially if English is your second language, IP stands for intellectual property.
Yeah.
That'd be like Supergirl, like whatever the source material is. It could even be in theory isn't something that's not, it could be a part of the public domain. It could be like the Bible,
Yeah.
Which we're going to cover the Bible later this year because
I think
it's crazy.
I think we
like
should,
the way what it was included and not included in the Bible.
I think
just
we should.
A side tangent
like
there.
Historically has been changing.
Oh, yesterday I was like doing a deep dive and I'm like, this is the topic, but I'm like, no, this is like too deep right now. Like we're going to cover this though. So y'all subscribe if y'all want us to showcase like how they keep discovering new scrolls. And it's like, what? It's nuts. Anyway, but nostalgic IP, streaming originals, animated sequels, horror revivals, kind of like the Evil Dead, they're doing that. Video game adaptations, they're doing that. Even the guy who did Weapons is doing a Resident Evil adaptation. We'll see what that looks like later this year. And movies that seem to exist because someone in the studio found a familiar title in a spreadsheet and was like, people are going to recognize this. So for a long time, that logic actually did work, right? So audiences showed up for familiar brands. Studios reduced risk by leaning on intellectual property. Marketing departments loved the pre-awareness. So like trying to get people to go see your film. If nobody knows what the freak you're talking about, it's highly unlikely that your movie is going to be able to have a decent ad spend and get a return on investment if people don't even know what it is because there's so much explaining involved. So that's part of why. But they call it P&A, which is prints and advertisement, but it's basically your marketing budget. So they love that pre-awareness. Streamers, they want recognizable titles or at least a recognizable director or actor. The global box office rewards spectacle 100%. But as of late, we're seeing like maybe we're learning like a dangerous lesson. If people recognize it, maybe they'll buy a ticket. But something is feeling different now. And these last couple of years, audiences are not automatically rejecting sequels, let's say. For example, The Devil Wears Prada did very, very well.
It did.
But I also feel like that was a combination of timing, understanding, like it was almost exactly 20 years after the release. And there's always an expression. Like, as you get older, it's so true. I think once you're like 40, 35, it's like everything was better 20 years ago.
And the whole cast was like the same and the same director. I think those things
and they did a massive press tour. Like they went around the whole freaking world. So The Devil Wears Prada 2, that was a great ad campaign. They went everywhere. Hey guys, you guys don't forget to like the video. I'm so glad you're all here. Hey, the art. Hey, Mario.
Andre.
Hey, Colby, Totten, what's going on?
Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. Hey, Mike
this is interactive. So I'm going through my monologue, but Sultan, I'm so glad you're here.
Thank
you
you,
guys
Sultan.
Leave comments. It helps us a ton.
Yes, and we will showcase the better comments, the best comments.
Yeah, exactly. And if you guys have a movie, you're like, oh, you got to cover this movie, then leave it in the chat. If you leave a super chat, you'll definitely get your movie covered.
Yeah.
So why are audiences rejecting movies that feel unnecessary? They're rejecting nostalgia without like a purpose, like a clear purpose. And they're rejecting live action remakes that feel less alive than the animated films that they're based on. In particular, Moana. so many people say that it just feels like a carbon copy of
Mhm.
the animated film, and how it
Yeah.
feels actually less lifeless, more lifeless,
More lifeless.
which is, you know, sad considering that there actually are people on screen and they're
Yeah.
in this.
Real people.
Yeah, they're real people, but I think it's because they're in front of green screens and there's just so much that's like, you know, it's like, at what point is it not really live action? And you can make the same
Yeah.
argument for The Lion King, but that did so well that they were like, but that was the earlier days of these remakes, right? That was like 10 years ago.
Right.
So, yeah, they're rejecting legacy sequels that they don't understand, that don't understand like why people love the original film. Because
Mhm.
sometimes people are remaking, especially these bigger companies, they're remaking something, but it's like they fundamentally don't understand what made the original so magical, you know, or what made it feel like, what was the lesson in the movie, right?
Mhm.
And so if you're just redoing stuff shot for shot, in the case of Moana, then you're probably going to have some pushback.
Yeah.
And so that's why tonight's conversation is it matters. It's like, are they rejecting corporate content disguised as like cinema? Because is Moana like really cinema?
Right.
And I think it's easy to make that, you know, armchair, you know, argument, because obviously making a film requires so much planning but I think that's the point, is that, you know, it's like you're guaranteed to get all this money when you have a star, where you have something that's based off of an original animated movie that made so much money. So it's like, are we drifting away from true cinema? And if that's the case, then what are the consequences of that? And
yeah, and what's left, right?
Yeah,
as well. So,
and it's not that Hollywood doesn't have any ideas. That's probably like an easy argument to make. Hollywood has always borrowed, always. Shakespeare borrowed, Disney borrowed, the Greeks even borrowed from previous cultures. Every civilization remake stories. That's actually part of what makes society. Is it's inherently derivative in terms of our storytelling. But the question is, like, whenever you do remake something, does it deepen the original? Does it reinterpret the material in a different way? Does it use technology to reveal something we couldn't see before? Thank you, Michael McSilvers.
Hey, Michael. Thank you so much.
I knew we went a little bit early, Michael, but I'm glad you're here.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Michael.
Love that new profile pic. It's good.
Yeah, what is that?
It's like a house.
Oh, nice. It looks like a Tudor house.
Yeah, but thank you so much.
Those fancy, we call them doll houses. They're made from almost like Victorian style. Thank you, Michael McSilvers. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
But this is a topic everyone kind of wants to get in on, because it's like what's happening, and it's like we feel it too.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people did not rush out to go see Moana. And does it use new technology to reveal something that we couldn't see before? You know, are we using the technology? Maybe Avatar is doing that to an extent.
Yeah.
But even that it feels like it's not having the cultural impact that you would think it would. Whereas like maybe some of these earlier Disney films from 10, 15, 20 years ago, and even earlier, like Little Mermaid, is like you'd walk around and have a lunchbox with Little Mermaid on it. But you're not seeing people walking around with a bunch of Avatar merchandise. Like, why is that?
Yeah.
So they don't necessarily want to carry the stories with them. It's more about being state of the art, let's say. So does it introduce a new generation to a story with sincerity? That's a big question about Moana in particular, is because the original came out literally just 10 years ago. And the sequel came out just 1 year ago or 2 years ago. So it feels a little like too soon and kind of strange. And it's fascinating. The little girl aged out of the role.
Yeah.
But The Rock didn't, right?
I had even forgot that there was a part 2.
Yeah, me too. I was doing my research. I was like, oh yeah, Moana 2 came out just like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And Moana 2 did very, very well. But it just seems like we're piling on. Like, it's like, okay, come on. Like, is it too much at this point? It makes a good point. I think general audiences are speaking with their wallets. So is it truly introducing a new generation to a story? So like we'll cover some things like Ben-Hur or A Star is Born, and those really are telling a story like to new generations, like decades later. Whenever the people that watch that movie, it's like they're like, this is like the same, you know, everything is shot for shot exactly the same.
Yeah.
Like what was the real point here? And so is it just a money grab? So tonight, Mara and I are putting Hollywood on trial. We're going to look at Disney live action remakes, animated sequels, legacy sequels, horror reboots, superhero fatigue, streaming movies, overlooked original films like that movie Send Help.
Yeah.
Which, you know, it didn't bomb, let's say, but I think it was heavily overlooked. The movie with from Sam Raimi.
I think we expected more, definitely.
Did you watch that? It's good.
No,
it's
I had friends recommending it to me, but I didn't end up watching it. And
it's good. It's good.
It's a yeah.
You're only recommended 10,000 movies a day, Mark. How are you not caught up? But we'll talk about movies that proved remakes and sequels can actually still work, like Top Gun Maverick, Creed, Dune, Mad Max, Fury Road. Not the Furiosa, but Fury Road with Charlize Theron. Puss in Boots, The Last Wish, which I actually loved that movie.
Yeah, it's good.
Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Scream, Evil Dead Rise, and many others. So there are some that work. But if you watch them, they feel like original films in and of themselves. They don't feel so incredibly like reductive. Maybe they're derivative, but the reality is that everything is derivative. But the question is it reductive, right? If you guys haven't liked the video, make sure you like the video.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about movies and why audiences are skeptical. Like, Snow White, The New Little Mermaid, The Lion King, Mulan, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, The Flash, The Marvels, Terminator Dark Fate, which I actually did like Terminator Dark Fate. But upon reviewing, I understand like some of the flaws that are inherently in that movie. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Michael.
I vote with my money. Disney is guilty of murdering its brand. Yeah, Michael McSilvers, you're not alone. A lot of people have that sentiment.
We will discuss it here.
Yeah, and we're going to discuss it. And thank you, Michael, for being like the champion. You're like, so this channel, we're going to grow this channel. Like, I'm like, come hell or high water, we're going to grow this channel. But since we're in the early days, I put the videos behind the paywall for members, but anyone can watch it live. And so, as we were figuring out the format, I'm like key members like Michael McSilvers. If you guys haven't become a member, become a member. We're going to be talking about
this channel is not
Hollywood
monetized.
And filmmaking, storytelling, history, art, exploring things that invite you to come into the fold. So we want people to participate.
So Mark Sands asked us a question.
I hate Karen Bass. Karen Bass is also guilty for destroying my life. Well, I mean, tell me about it. I've lived in the Palisades.
Mark Sands has a question.
Yes.
How do you feel about Spielberg's latest project not making bank?
All right. So Steven Spielberg's latest movie not making bank. Yeah. So basically you're saying like his last movie, Disclosure Day, was a disappointment. And you'll notice that if you're not really if a super well-known director, if it bombs, they'll say the word bomb. But if you're someone like Christopher Nolan, if you're Steven Spielberg, or if you're like a George Lucas or a Coppola, they won't use the term flop unless it's like a crazy bad flop, like Megalopolis. Sure, you could call that Megaflopolis. You know what I mean? But I think it's just symptomatic of the movie not necessarily living up to its premise. I would say that film doesn't really deliver on what the idea is, which is like Disclosure Day, which is like there's going to be some information in here that's truly revealed to me as an audience member.
Yeah.
Kind of like this reveal with like Jurassic Park from Steven Spielberg, or even Jaws. It's like you see the thing and it's very powerful. And even though in Jaws you don't see it a whole bunch, it's like the fear of it and the way it's, it showcases like human nature. I think this film probably felt like it didn't have a ton to say other than we all need to come together or we need more empathy. But like, was the best vehicle doing it through aliens? Because it feels like making a big promise and then not delivering on it and just kind of maybe preaching to us to an extent.
I think that was the biggest critique I've seen.
Yeah. But I think that's why. I think audiences were just like, I don't need to be like preached at. Like, I think we all understand empathy on a basic level. Whether we practice it or not, that is up to the individual.
Yeah.
But I just talked to our neighbors and I did my best. Like, you really, they've been my neighbors for like three and a half years. And, but there's such a reluctance for, people being neighborly, depending on where you live. And then I'm like, y'all come over anytime you want, knock on the door. And I realized that it's like, there's this like, and so I think it's very interesting. So I think that the overall message in Disclosure Day from Steven Spielberg is 100% on the money. You guys don't forget to like the video.
Yes. Don't forget to do that.
But the problem is that it doesn't feel like a true action movie that has some sense of discovery and awe and wonder, because at the end of the day, it doesn't really have much to say beyond something that could have been told through a dramatically different medium. Like I watched a movie about World War II and all the atrocities that took place. And it was very hyper focused on these two guys who were escaping this place in Poland, which was one of the first, camps. Yeah. And the movie was like just devastating. And I was like, this movie is like really teaching empathy. But I was comparing it to Disclosure Day. It's like the idea of like, how do you reach the core concept of empathy?
Yeah.
I think there is an aspect to Steven Spielberg's films that should promise like a spectacle.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever he doesn't necessarily deliver on that premise, even if he doesn't declare it clearly in the marketing, which I think it did. The marketing made it feel like it was, there's going to be something like revolutionary revealed in here.
Yeah, it was a very promising.
Right. And so it just kind of felt like, well, like you're not really, there's nothing really new to say here. So, cool story, nice chase sequence. But at the end of the day, but I think, listen, I'll never crap on Steven Spielberg. I think he's amazing. And it's so hard to get any movie made. But I understand why it underperformed. 100% I understand that.
Right. Thank you for your question, guys.
Yeah. Good questions. You guys leave questions.
Yeah.
I hate Karen Bass. It's hilarious. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people do. Just so you know, that's the mayor of Los Angeles. So there's just a lot of stuff there. A lot of people are just kind of devastated that's going to probably continue.
Hey Jim Winship, hello.
Hey Jim Winship, how are you? And you guys, we have a super chat goal too. We got 2 out of 10. Thank you to Michael McSilver.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you so much.
So again, the movies that really started to showcase and started to highlight, like the audiences were skeptical, were Snow White, Little Mermaid, Lion King, Mulan, Indiana Jones, Dial of Destiny, The Flash, The Marvels, Terminator, Dark Fate, and now the Moana picture, which has made just $95 million worldwide against a $250 million budget. So you get $250 million in this movie. That's just its production, right? So it's not including marketing, which is also known as P&A. And we have to ask a very uncomfortable question. Like, is franchise fatigue real, or are audiences simply becoming more selective? And I think maybe it's a combination of both, right? Because I think if you are feeling franchise fatigue, naturally you're going to become more selective. And I mean, so selective is kind of like, like which one do I want to see? And then maybe fatigue is over like a whole, like, just like rejecting something. But I do think there's a bit of both, where it's like, oh, well, going to the movies with your kids, that's going to end up being like over $100 if it's two adults, 2 kids, and popcorn and a drink.
We kind of discussed this in a previous live stream, but it's I think one of the reasons people are not going to the movie theaters any as much, I would say.
Absolutely. So is Hollywood guilty? It's that we're putting on trial. So kind of our fun. So you guys in the chat say guilty is like a lazy cash grab, not guilty, like worth revisiting for whatever it was, or complicated, like a good idea but flawed execution. So we're going to talk about some movies and use these movies as case studies. So you guys stick around. Don't forget to like the video.
Yes.
Don't forget to subscribe. Hey Fawad, hey Kiss of Life. How's it going, guys? By the way, Jimmy's coming back tomorrow night. How about that? So super chats for Jimmy for travel expenses.
Yes.
All right. So Mario's here. He's at the producer's desk. So the last few days I've been over there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it feels like you're like kind of playing like you're as like an orchestra.
Yeah.
And as I was going there, like Mario's like, do you want me to do it? And I was like, yeah. So I was like, you go over there now and I'll be over here.
But thank you guys for your support.
Yeah, thank you.
David has a question. What is the most popular thing Hollywood is doing right now?
Probably vertical content. And it's not just Hollywood, it's probably the entire this weekend I had some calls from casting directors, and we had 2 people booked on vertical content, and and I had conversations, and they're like saying, right, the fad right now is to use apps. So there are several different apps where it's behind a paywall. But what's happening now is that these vertical romance series, like you might call them romanticities, what they're doing is, if you're curious about what's happening with Hollywood and just the film industry in general, what's happening is that they're making vertical content, filming it vertically. Sometimes they'll film it vertically and horizontally, and they'll be able to edit it however they need to. But it's really vertical first, and they're just putting it straight on TikTok. So we have an actress who booked a job
I saw that
yesterday. Yeah.
Today.
And I talked to the casting director like that for like an hour on the phone.
Oh wow. Yeah.
And we were just like chatting about the state of the business. And so it's interesting too, because certain movies succeed or don't succeed based off of a variety of factors. And I remember just thinking like some of the comments that were being made, and I love this casting director, she's so lovely, but it was like reminding me of like how polarized the American culture is right now. And like how like everything is like politically coded. And I'm like, I'm not really political, but I think it's so sad because after moving outside the United States, like, I'm not thinking along those same terms anymore, but the people there are. And so this is not political. So if you guys are thinking that we're being political, we're not. And you'll notice that we're not. But I was noticing that like so much of, and it's also a symptom of a society like on the verge of not civil war, but
I think we all can feel like there's something going on. Right now, like with these times, not only on this side of the world, but
the whole world is like there's and there's also like that's why some countries I think are turning to more authoritarian regimes too, is because it just feels like they can have more control over the overall society and culture because there's so much derision and so much divisiveness and these Western democracies. So
and also John Scott mentioned another thing.
You guys don't forget to like the video, by the way, if you're here. And leave a comment, and we can put it on screen.
Which happened over the weekend as well. That we see all these things happening.
Yeah, I think he had like he'd recovered from another illness and had a brief illness. I try not to look at that, but I will tell you, as you get older, and working in this business, I was telling Myra, I was like, there comes a time when like all of your heroes die. And it's very painful, but it's very real. Thank you, Michael McSilvers.
Thank you.
Work calls. Watch the rest of the episode. Team Brent and Team Myra. Thank you so much. Michael McSilvers, you're amazing. Thank you so much for being here for us. Seriously, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And you guys, Jimmy is coming back tonight, or tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night.
So y'all get excited for Jimmy to come back. But the question was, what happened? Yeah, a lot of celebrities died over the weekend, including Bonnie Tyler. I really need you tonight. Forever's gonna start tonight. These songs are iconic and they will live in our memories forever. Ain't nothing but a heartache. These songs that are so powerful.
She had such a unique style.
She really did.
Well.
A really unique singing voice in and of itself. If you guys are just now joining us, don't forget to like the video. You can leave a comment.
Yes.
And I worked in Hollywood for over 20 years. So if you'd like to leave comments about the industry as a whole, we're not just talking out of our butt. Like we're basing this off of first-hand information. So we're going to talk about, we're going to go through and use movies as case studies now. But if you have questions about what's happening in Hollywood today, feel free and ask the questions. I miss Jimmy. I miss him too. I miss him him being like, he's so funny.
Squeaking, they said.
Yeah. The squeaking is.
Oh, tweaking. Yeah.
Oh, tweaking and squeaking. Yeah, I love it. Yeah. All right, so chat, you guys are going to be the jury. So if you're watching, guys, you're the jury. You're going to help. You're going to say like guilty, not guilty, or complicated. Whenever we mention a film, and if it's like too, they're guilty of it just being a cash grab, let's say. And then if they're not guilty, it means like this deserves it has merit for being made. And then if it's complicated, then you can say like, well, maybe the idea behind it was right, but for whatever reason, it wasn't executed all that well, let's say, right?
Yes. So
thank you, Mark Sands. Thank you. Any thoughts on how streaming has affected movie making funding overall? The blockbusters are gone. That's a really great question. If you guys are new, don't forget to like the video. So this is a really good question. So Mark Sands is asking about streaming dramatically changed the industry. And in large part, obviously, because people don't want to leave their house. There's gas, car, cost. There's an opportunity cost. All these different things that start to add up. It's not just your movie ticket. It's the cost of wear and tear on your vehicle, depending on how far away you live from a movie theater. The popcorn, the drinks. Whenever you go to a movie theater, there's like an expectation. So if you go on a date or if you bring your kids, if you don't buy the popcorn and the drinks, it feels like you're cheating the other person out on especially if you're the provider, on the full experience. Whereas maybe you can provide that at home for like less than a tenth of the cost, if not theoretically nothing. Not nothing, because you're still, you're still paying for your rent and your internet and all these different things. But if you're going to have those anyway, but here's the biggest thing that did is if you're a movie producer, you used to be able to make all of your money for the production itself by doing international pre-sales. And what that meant is that you could sell the rights to Europe to Japan to South Korea to Latin America or Mexico. And you could go through in the UK for your film. And because Alec Baldwin was in it or because whoever was in it, you could do the pre-sales. And so you could get like $100 million, to make your movie. And all of that was because you pre-sold the international distribution rights around the globe. And then you actually made your movie based off of the pre-sales. And so Netflix has in large part diminished that because now there's like a global everywhere all at once model. So that's the biggest thing that it's had, I would say, in terms of like how movies are getting made and what kinds of movies are being made. But in some ways, movies are like their budgets are bigger than ever because the cost of production has increased so high. But again, what we've learned is, especially with like this Julia Roberts movie last year, which is what, the After the Hunt? Is that
After the Hunt. Yeah.
And so it may have been I think it was After the Hunt, but that was a movie where Luca Guadagnino did it. And she got paid $20 million and just flopped like really hard. And what's interesting is that that's the same fee that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson gets is $20 million. And so this movie, any box office bonuses have evaporated, but at least he got his $20 million, up front. But we're seeing, we're seeing some actors getting the highest paydays ever, but it's very few people because when they're going into it, they're hoping that it's a sure thing. But as it's turning out to not be a sure thing, that's what we're talking about. Is that there's no more sure things.
Right? He was also making another movie that no studio wanted to buy. Like he already had it and no studio wanted to buy.
That's the case with a lot of actors. They have packaged movies. Like even Jennifer Lawrence, she has a movie where she's a talent manager from the 1970s, Sue Mengers. And they tried to shop that around, and they just didn't think there was going to be enough general public interest in it. I would personally love to see that movie because it's about this Hollywood manager. She's not necessarily like the brightest, but she was like born in Europe, and she came over, and she's like really good at pushing people in the door for things. But it was like a fascinating story. So Sue we could do a whole episode on Sue Mengers, because nobody really knows who she is. But that's why the movie hasn't sold. They've been shopping it for the last 8 years. But and also like the misfire of Black Adam for DC, that was also painful for them. So if you guys have questions, keep the questions coming.
Yes, we can highlight your comments as well, guys. So
exactly.
But that's the core of this live stream. We're gonna discuss movies, and as you guys can know, you also are the jury, guys, so participate.
Right. And don't forget to like the video if you're here.
Don't forget to like the video.
So Hollywood has always recycled stories. That's not new. The ancient Greeks retold myths, Shakespeare borrowed plots, all that stuff. But it's like now the question is, does so much modern recycling make the product end up feeling lifeless on screen or even like just dead? Which it seems like the case with Moana. It's like some sequels feel like a miracle, like The Godfather. Or what's the other famous example? Or The Terminator, too, like Judgment Day, like surpasses all expectations.
Harry Potter, maybe
even Harry Potter, that whole saga, or The Lord of the Rings, and then other sequels feel like hostage videos. It's like people don't necessarily want to be there, but it just feels like they have to.
Hey, Adlad.
So why does one remake feel like a new interpretation while another one feels like a brand extension? And why does an animated movie sometimes feel more alive than its live action remake? Well, we're going to be talking about that. So we're going to go back to Ben-Hur. So Ben-Hur has been made 3 times. There was a silent film in 1925. There was a movie with Charlton Heston in 1959. And there was a relatively recent one from 2016. It's hard to believe that 2016 was 20 years ago. Pretty wild. But yes. Hey, Velvet Hammer, what's going on?
Hey, Velvet.
I'm surprised Moana didn't do well. Velvet Hammer, I'm not really surprised by it. It actually makes sense to me. And I think part of the reason why is because audiences kind of knew going in, like, if we support this movie, then it's like Disney's remake machine will never stop. So it also kind of, the lighting felt flat. It didn't feel particularly dynamic. It felt, even though they went to Hawaii, people just said they might as well just film the whole thing on a green screen because it felt so CGI. So what's the point of making a live action film if it's going to, at the end of the day, not feel very life-like, right? Live action there's a certain expectation. And I think in the early days of the Disney remake, which with like the Lion King, where it's all, they're calling it live action, but the reality is that all of it's in computer. All of it's CGI. So, but I think they got away with that because it was like, they're all animals. You know what I mean? So what are you going to do? And I don't think people necessarily particularly loved the Lion King. I don't think people are the original. Yes. The remake, I don't think people are going out to rewatch that again and again. I don't think that it looked more like a nature documentary than it did a Disney movie. So Adlad says 2016 was 10 years ago. You're right, isn't that wild?
Yes. But Ben-Hur, yes, we were starting to cover Ben-Hur because this is an example of a story that's been
Yes, don't forget to like the video if you're here. If you like to participate in the chat, you go for it. So Ben-Hur is a movie. I have pictures that I downloaded for Mario, but those are from 1959. But there was also a silent movie, but it was also based off of a book from like 1988. But it was like the tale of like Christ. It was like if you look up like the origins of Ben-Hur, it's really fascinating.
Yeah.
So here's an image of Ben-Hur. This is from the 1925 version.
Yes.
Yeah. People don't realize that the Charlton Heston one was actually a remake of 1925.
But you were mentioning that it's not like completely based off a story.
No.
But it is set against real historical backdrops like the Roman Empire and the life of Jesus Christ in the 1st century.
Yes.
Although the main character, Judah Ben-Hur, is entirely fictional. The book and its cinematic adaptations interweave his personal tale of betrayal and redemption with broader historical and religious events of the New Testament. So it's not quite a historical film, but it is heavily
like
inspired
it's historical
by it.
In terms of like it takes place in the past, but it's not based off of actual historical events.
Yeah, correct.
Like Lord of the Rings was. I was watching an analysis video, and Herman was asking me. Herman is he lives with us, but he was like, what era is that supposed to be? I'm like, well, it's kind of like medieval times, but it's fantasy, so it's not any time.
Yeah.
He was like, but what year? And I was like, well, I mean, there's no year because it's like a metaphor, you know what I mean? Or an allegory. And he was just like, I was like, there's no time. Like there's no time this is taking place in because it's outside of our concept of time. Anyway, but it was just interesting because I was like, well, how do you explain it to someone if they don't really, work in that space?
Yeah.
So if understanding filmmaking and what the intentions are behind it, at the end of the day, you want to make the audience feel something. So this is a picture. Now, this is also a famous image too, because there was a lot of like coded stuff going on in Ben-Hur in terms of like the relationship between these two characters. Like there was like kind of like a romance there. And I don't even try to sneak that in. It's like, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. There's so like even growing up, they talked about these scenes all the time with this guy who was coded to be his like lover, let's say.
And that's something that movies made back then as well.
It can be explicit.
Right.
And that's not the point of this video at all, but it's fascinating because that is one of the most famous images of this. Hey, Richie, how's it going?
Hey, Richie,
have you seen Ben-Hur? This is from 1959.
Yes.
This is the end of the 50s. This is Ben-Hur. And Ben-Hur has Charlton Heston on the right. And remember, he did the 10 Commandments too. So he did a lot of like biblical type stuff.
Yeah.
And I say type because this one is not really based off of the Bible, but the one of the names is like, Ben-Hur, the story of the Christ or something like that.
Yeah.
He's a very handsome man too. Let me tell you that. Richie, we're so glad you're here. Richie, by the way, Jimmy's coming back tomorrow night. How about that?
Yes.
So this is you guys, this is live, so leave comments. The art, the bromance, absolutely. Thank you for watching from France. The art, we're so glad to see you.
Thank you, Andre.
So this is Charlton Heston, a huge star. I mean, just absolutely huge. I mean, if you watch the 10 Commandments, I mean, I remember being so blown away as a child by that film. But the reason why we mentioned Ben-Hur is because that was a movie like worth remaking. Because why? They had color, they had sound. This spectacle of Ben-Hur. Yeah. But then you could argue that the 2016 remake was, fell flat because it just kind of felt unnecessary. Because the scope and the awe and the wonder and the amazement from the 1959 version really did the job. And so it's like it was justifiable. So I would say it was not guilty for being a cash grab in 1959 because it felt like a logical remake, because now you have this new technology that can really put on full display. They also had a lot of practical sets on Ben-Hur. That was a hugely expensive movie. I'm talking like Cleopatra level type stuff. But the 2016 film, a lot of people would say that's an example of being guilty of, because I think it's easy to justify making something. It's like, well, now there's CGI, there's this, there's that. The problem is that now a lot of the CGI stuff just feels inherently like empty.
Yeah.
Like the first Lord of the Rings, there were so many practical effects, the first trilogy, and people have seen it like a billion times. But then The Hobbit, like, I don't know anyone who went back to watch it again, the Hobbit trilogy,
right?
Because it just felt too artificial, too like plasticky. It didn't feel based. And again, this goes back to our concept of dark fantasy. So, I mean, just looks kind of cheesy. The 2016 version wasn't Star Wars a remake of Ben-Hur. That's you could make that argument, Dag Overhaul. But Star Wars is some people call Star Wars a Western.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and the people were highly disappointed in the last trilogy.
Yeah.
Even though they made the most money, it's like they felt disappointed by them because it didn't, stay true to the original, to the story. You guys let me know your theories, because I know people love Star Wars. So Ben-Hur, do we have any more pictures from the 2016 version? We probably don't need to, because it's not all that spectacular. It really just kind of came and went. Whereas Ben-Hur from 1959, people who are in their 30s and up, particularly in their 40s and up, like 40 or late 30s, we know about Ben-Hur because we grew up like being like, people like, this was like the biggest scope of filmmaking ever, and it was so amazing. Whereas, whenever the 2016 version came out, it's like, okay, well, you have a bunch of CGI crowds, CGI horses, like, okay, whoop-de-doo.
Yeah.
And so I think the 1959 version of Ben-Hur feels very, very justified, whereas the 2016 version, it just feels like, okay, yeah, let's dress up Morgan Freeman, and that's when they were putting him in everything.
Yeah,
it's like he's in everything. He's like in a commercial, and then he's in a movie. He's like he was in everything of this.
He was even in The Dark Knight as his time. Right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, listen, he's a great actor.
Yeah,
so
he is,
but I think sometimes you trot out great actors and you pay them a whole bunch of money, and they're going to be in your movie.
Yeah,
it doesn't necessarily mean that movie is going to work. Let's say.
How well can a great performance like Heath Ledger's Joker carry a franchise, in your opinion?
Mark Sands, that's a great question. I think that character's performance inside of the script is so crucial. We're working on a script right now, and it's interesting how you toy with scripts now, because you can do it a lot faster, which is handy. But again, like part of it is like using the new technology that we have available to us. But at the end of the day, like the script has to really be there, and then the filmmaker has to have a really clear vision. And I think Christopher Nolan had a really clear vision for what he wanted. And so it facilitated that level of performance. I actually don't think that the whole movie rested on his performance, because there were so many things going on in that movie. I think that it's one of the top 3 things that make it amazing. But if the cinematography wasn't there, if the sound design wasn't there, if the direction, if the lighting, if the set pieces weren't there, then it wouldn't have worked, right? But Heath Ledger is an amazing actor. Even going back to The Knight's Tale, there's some like cheesy moments in that film but it's actually like a very emotional movie. And the emotional payoff for A Knight's Tale is a great film.
Yeah,
which is like that was one of his breakout roles. That and like 10 Things I Hate About You. Which again, those are a lot of this stuff is it's derivative, right, from 10 Things I Hate About You is Taming of the Shrew. And A Knight's Tale is like re-envisioning some of the medieval aspects of Europe. So it's very cool. So, but I think it's crucial to play a character so iconic who's already actually been done really well, let's say by Jack Nicholson, right? So whenever you bring back a character, you have to the level of Unhinged was really good. But I also think he paid the ultimate price for it, because I think that there's a lot of character work done on that, which I think was detrimental to his mental health.
Yeah. and there's also discussions about like
Absolutely.
the method acting and everything that he kind of went through in order to.
And method acting is different for every person.
Yeah,
Some people I think take it so far, especially like the more extreme your character is, then how far do you want to take it? Because if it's so extreme, then people around you are going to be irritated with you. And then you can see it done poorly, because even Jared Leto did method acting to play the Joker again, which people just people on set were like so sick of him. And
and the movie,
I couldn't stand looking at it.
And the movie didn't end up doing amazing. So it's again.
And I think that was one of the last movies too, where it's kind of we felt obligated to go to see those films.
Yeah.
But I think now if that movie came out, it would have bombed a lot harder, because it was like there was this idea of like milking things so much to the point where now we're milking things so much that it's such a shameless money grab. It's like everyone can see it, even the most armchair bystander can really see that.
Yeah.
So I think that was the case with that squad. Another film that's been redone again and again is A Star Is Born. Hey Sultan, how's it going? Hey The Art, hey John Scott in Vegas, what's going on?
A Star Is Born.
Haters called Jake Lloyd Mannequin Skywalker. Yeah. All right, so this is A Star Is Born. This is the second time it was made.
Yeah.
So A Star Is Born was made several times. So this is from like 1954, I think.
1954, you're right.
Yeah,
but
so
the first one.
1954. This is Judy Garland, and this is actually a magical movie. And I think the first one was done, I believe, as a silent film. I could be wrong, but I think it was a silent film. So again, kind of like in the Ben-Hur territory, it makes sense to remake it, because you have new technology that allows you to really tell the story in a truly better fashion without it feeling gimmicky. Now, obviously, there are some people out there who thought sound in and of itself was a gimmick.
Yes.
But obviously it's not a gimmick. We all can hear and see. And it makes total sense for those two things to be coupled together in terms of filmmaking. So I think this is a clear, don't forget to like the video, guys, if you're here. But this is a clear example of a movie that I think should have been made. And Judy Garland is spectacular.
Yeah.
And you're right, Kiss of Life. There was a 1976 version with Barbara Streisand and Chris Christopherson. And we actually have pictures that we can pull up of that as well. And you guys don't forget, you can leave a super chat as well.
Just to make a precision, no, the 1937 version of A Star Is Born is not a silent film. It is
you're right. So it was like right after sound.
Yeah, it's a talkie motion picture with that.
And I think there was some singing in there, but it was I think when you have like next level talent, like Barbara Streisand or Judy Garland, so like I think A Star Is Born, like you can justify remaking that, because what is a star? What is a star, and what are the cultural impacts of being a star? Yeah, and so it's very different from, let's say, the Moana remake, which is a shot for shot recreation, whereas this is like using unique, iconic voices, like voices of a generation. So Barbara Streisand had the voice of a generation. Judy Garland had the voice of a generation. Truly iconic people. They actually sang together on Judy Garland's variety show. Happy days are here again. So here she is with Chris Christopherson.
Yeah, this is the 1976 version.
This is the 1976 version. If you guys like movie history, if you like talking about cinema, like pop culture, y'all subscribe. Don't forget to like the video.
Yes, directed by Frank Pearson. 1976. Yes, this is Barbara Streisand and Chris Christopherson. And then we have the
fun fact: Stu Mangers represented him. That manager I was telling you about.
Yeah, that's interesting.
That Jennifer Lawrence has the script attached to. So Stu Mangers represented Chris Christopherson.
Oh wow! Yeah. And of course, we have the 2018 version by Bradley Cooper, starring Lady Gaga and him, Bradley Cooper.
I thought it was kind of strange because I didn't think that Bradley Cooper could sing. And I think that like there's a lot of saying like, oh, and I just was so surprised he could sing. And I'm like, no, like if this is like after all like the years of pre-production and like the work. Yeah, I don't think I would not. I think everyone can sing.
It's just a matter of.
But it's like it's kind of painful hearing him next to her on the track.
Yeah.
Because he'd be like, there just wasn't. I feel like it was so kind of uncomfortable hearing his voice. I love Bradley Cooper. I think he's great. I love his origins from being in these tiny roles like in Wedding Crashers and coming out from there. So I don't have anything against him, but I think pairing him with Lady Gaga was kind of an odd thing. But he was a director, right? So it made sense.
Which is for me always questionable. Like whenever a
Mm-hmm.
director is also starring on his film, it's always
it's hard.
But he became also famous, right, for like also do this method acting for his latest film, Maestro. I think like he got deep into the music aspect of things.
Yeah, don't forget to like the video if you're here. But you know, John Scott, you're saying I actually liked all 7 Star Wars flicks. LOL. Are you joking because you're excluding some of them? Because aren't there's like
9 main ones.
There's more 9. There's more than 9 because there's
of
Rogue,
course 9 main ones, and then
there's Solo, and then there's Mandalorian. So there's like at least 12, if not 13.
Yeah.
At this point. All right. Dag, I don't just like Jake Lloyd just had not the version of the young Anakin Skywalker that I would picture in my head when I read the book. Why am I drawing a blank? Who is Jake Lloyd? Was that the little boy?
Jake Lloyd is the
little boy with blonde hair.
Anakin Skywalker as a
child. Where he's like, very. They probably pick like the most innocent type of version of. Like he's like, come on, Dad. He's in some other movies. Around that age. Also, I think people are just inherently fascinated with youth actors, as well.
Yeah. I think it was good. And then the difference is that before Hollywood used to be more original, it kind of felt like it was more original. But
well, I think there's some remakes that it's like they felt justified, whereas now it's like I think again Moana just feels like it doesn't feel like there's any reason for it to exist, and that's been the biggest criticism. But we can even look at the Wizard of Oz too, and how there have been so many different iterations of the Wizard of Oz. Now there haven't been direct sequels other than, let's say, Return to Oz, which we've actually talked about, which was new to you, the 1985 remake. But the Wizard of Oz is something again based off of Al Frank Baum's novels, about Oz. Here we are with this. This is the original Star is Born.
Yeah.
So this is going back to
I'm just pulling up some posters.
1937.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is great. Yeah. And they had stars in the original Star is Born, like stars of the time. And again, you're right. This is already in the talkies era. But I do think there were so many inventions that came around in the 50s with like Technicolor and lighting.
Technicolor is always fascinating, and I think it's sad that we cannot really replicate it anymore. But again, it's just how things work. So the Wizard of Oz with Judy Garland, of course, Frank Morgan, Ray Bolger.
Can you imagine being so shallow that you hate someone because of a movie? John Scott, I know people like that. I think it's so strange. When people are, I'm like, I really don't mind if people, because I also know that whenever you see a movie too, it has a lot to do with what's going on in your life. So sometimes a movie can really have a huge impact on you, but it's because of what was going on in your life, and how you interpreted that film, how you absorbed it, how it became a part of your psyche and your story. Thank you, Mark Sands.
Thank you, Mark Sands.
Tap Jimmy lightly on the head for me when he gets back for not posting any shorts while on vacation. Mark Sands, I'm telling you, I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, where are the videos? I get it though, so I haven't been bugging him because I'm not gonna be like, you step away and film, but because to me it's easy to do it. But
but thank you,
Mark Sands. Truly, thank you so much.
Yes,
thank you, and thank you for being a member.
Yes,
so this is Wizard of Oz. This is from what year was this? 59.
This was 39, I think.
Yeah. We can
39.
Yeah, 39. Yeah, 39. Yeah, let's get it right. It's such a magical film.
Yeah, it was a musical fantasy film produced by Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, based on a novel, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz by L. Frank Baum. So it was also based off of a book, but again, like the work that Hollywood used to make.
So many production issues with this film. Like it's like famously like haunted, for all the different things that weren't going right.
Yeah, like the legends surrounding this film. I think
even the paint on the Wicked Witch
exactly
was like, she got burned when that scene when she's on the yellow brick road
Mm-hmm.
and they're in Munchkin Land and she like disappears. She got like really burned,
Mm-hmm.
but she really embraced that character and she would go to hospitals and see children and she would for throughout her life like she because as the movie grew in popularity because it went to television,
Mm-hmm.
so she people the movie was a disappointment at the time when it first came out, but it became iconic as it would replay on television again and again and again.
Which was kind of like the idea with later on physical media and release.
You guys don't forget to like the video if you're here too. Hey, AG Play, how are you?
Hello. Thank you,
Working
AG
and
Play.
listening. I'm glad you're here.
Thank you for working and listening.
That's right.
So
you guys don't forget you can leave a super chat as well. So here's the Wicked Witch and here's Judy Garland who's playing Dorothy Gale.
I think
that makeup was toxic too.
Yes. Yeah, there's a lot of controversy surrounding this film as well. Like
she was so young and
I mean, that's also very known, right? Like the fact that she was very, very young.
And they were controlling her eating. They were like either giving her uppers, things like that, as a young child, which became an addiction later. But it's because these shooting schedules were so like there was so much they had to get in, and so
that's funny.
Listen,
David.
I do love the movie Judy. I think it's worth watching with Renee Zellweger. She didn't win the Best Actress for nothing. Like that movie is good. I highly recommend seeing Judy. You guys let me know in the chat if y'all saw that. You all should dress up at the Wizard of Oz. Davy Young for a super chat. I'll do it. I don't see why not. It just depends on how much can we do DIY for the you know what I mean? I don't want to necessarily buy a bunch of props.
I don't want to. We definitely don't want to wear toxic makeup.
Yeah, well, I definitely dressed up as like the characters as a kid. I don't think I was Dorothy, but I remember, my dad. It was interesting because he actually really did understand my taste. Like even though we have a really strained relationship, he came back from visiting somewhere. And he brought me back some ruby slippers, and I was like a little kid. But he knew how much I loved the Wizard of Oz, and I was like, "What an interesting gift to give your son."
Yeah,
it's like these little. It was like a little miniature thing of ruby slippers. But I was like, maybe he was like, "I know, kiddo, like you're good." Who knows?
Yeah,
but that was about.
But I think.
And they were saying over the weekend, Michael McSilvers was telling me he was like. Mario would look great in drag. I'm like, I don't know. They're like, too bad he's straight. I was like, okay.
I don't know.
I don't have anything against drag. It's just not my cup of tea. I think because I was around it so much too in my 20s that I was just like, okay. Like I don't necessarily. I'm not like huge about it. But I don't have anything against it. But I definitely don't look out for drag shows. Back in Dallas, they used to do this, and they still do it. I think it's called drag bingo. And so they would have drag queens, and they would do bingo and stuff. And so. For me, the performativity of drag is interesting, but I'm kind of just like over it because I've been around it for so much. I'm just like, yeah.
I think
it's beautiful.
It can be fun, right? But
yeah,
at the same time, to each their own.
Yeah. The Wiz with Michael Jackson had almost as many problems. Yeah, you make a good point, Mark Sands. So there was a movie that was like a black Wizard of Oz, and it was called The Wiz, and it was WHIZ. WIZ. But it was like Diana Ross was in it. But it was like a black Wizard of Oz. That's a great point, Mark Sands, bringing that up. Because that's something that a lot of people don't know about. So this here, what is this?
This is a recommendation by Atlat. He said you should check out The Bluebird from 20th Century Fox.
Nice.
Answer to MGM's The Wizard of Oz.
You guys, this is why you participate in the chat too, because you can recommend movie stuff that we don't have on our list.
Yeah, starring Shirley Temple, definitely underrated. So this is a
very good. Yeah, Shirley Temple was she was a little dancing star, little dancer and singer. She's like, I'm on the blue ship, lollipop, da 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 dun dun. She was a great little performer. She became like an activist as she got older.
Yes,
and did less acting. But Shirley Temple was an iconic figure.
Yeah,
you guys don't forget to like the video if you're here as well.
Yes, please do so. And thank you already.
It says, not that image though. It's from 1940.
Oh, I think. This is from 76.
For drag, people think I'm legit a girl. The art 8039. That's hilarious.
I mean, that happens.
You're too funny.
That's good.
Yeah, that can happen. That can for sure happen.
Yeah. Well, thank you for the recommendation, Atlat. And also, we have here the Maltese Falcon as well.
Yeah, the Maltese Falcon.
which was a 1941 movie directed by John Huston. So another prolific figure in American
Are we
cinema.
friends now, Brent? You know it. That's right, Sultan 629. Don't forget to like the video.
Yes.
All right, so The Maltese Falcon is a movie that a lot of people think the famous version was the original. I think there was one before this.
So yeah, there's a 1931 version. So 10 years earlier, directed by Roy Del Ruth, released before the strict enforcement of the Motion Picture Production Code. This version contains highly suggestive dialogue, overt reference to homosexuality, and portrays Sam Spade as a womanizing detective. It was largely withheld from US release for decades and later syndicated on television under the alternate title Dangerous Female.
That's right.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
So
like it has a really famous, like there's some different covers, but like Humphrey Bogart, Mary Astor, 1941 American film noir. You know, it was from a novel from 1930.
So only a year later until they had a movie, right? That's very interesting.
Yeah, but this was they made that movie for $375,000.
Oh, wow.
Obviously, adjusted for inflation, that's a lot,
but
not a whole lot. Nothing compared to like what we have budgets today. But Humphrey Bogart was such a huge actor. You know, he was in Casablanca. You know, a huge actor.
Yeah, he was.
But yeah, it definitely has like this. And this was something that was enigmatic of film noir, is having like a femme fatale character. So yeah, it had a very like enigmatic and you know, a kind of an enchanting figure that was like, you know, could encourage like the protagonist to do something that's say bad or you know, influence him.
Yeah, and so the 1941 version was the most faithful and celebrated adaptation of the novel. Bogart's iconic portrayal of the cynical thought talking private eye cemented his status as a Hollywood superstar and essentially established the visual and narrative blueprint for the film noir genre. Which is obviously the most known version, generally speaking. But yeah, they were also based off books.
Absolutely.
I think it was Michael McSilvers who was mentioning earlier that they should probably try to make like films based off of books, and I think they are kind of doing that. I know that there's a project on
they've
Netflix.
Been doing it for a long time. Even Ben-Hur was based off of a book. I mean, most things are based off of a book because it's like it has some cultural relevancy. So the idea of using IP isn't like a new thing. But
right.
I think that.
But I do agree that there are some new material out there that might be, you know, interesting to have made in film. You know, Stanley Kubrick was famous for that.
Yeah.
Adapting novels and books in general.
Yeah.
But I think there's still nice material there.
Exactly. And I think one of the points of showing these older films too is that Hollywood didn't just start remaking things in the 2010s. That's not a recent phenomenon. Like A Star is Born was made across generations. Ben-Hur existed before the 1959 version that we know and love. Universal Pictures built a whole monster empire of novels, myths, and the stage traditions. So, you know, the difference is the old Hollywood often remade stories because performance, genre, technology, and cultural mood had shifted and changed. Whereas modern Hollywood often remake stories because the title like has inherent market value.
Yeah.
And like maybe the culture hasn't changed so dramatically from, especially 2016. Like remaking something from 2016 kind of feels ridiculous.
Yeah, this, I mean, it kind of makes you wonder whether if it's actually necessary or not.
Well, here's my chat question. Like, what's the best remake ever made?
Yes.
Like, what's the best remake ever made? Is it the Maltese Falcon? Is it, you know, Ben-Hur? You know, is it A Star is Born? You know, what is the best remake? Or you can even say, like, what's the best sequel, in your opinion? I think I'd be curious to know what the chat thinks about that.
Yes. Let us know, guys.
And if you're new here, don't forget to like the video. All right, let's go to segment 2. Like, when is remake justified? So I think a remake is justified when it has at least one or two of these things, right? Like it has a real like new point of view, or maybe there's a new technology that reveals something new. Kind of like, let's say, a silent film to a talkie, or
Mm-hmm.
the original was maybe flawed or had like some unrealized potential. Like it could have been better than what it was. So whenever they remade it, it kind of captured some of the elements that the first film didn't fully capture.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe they remake a movie because it does require like a generational like reintroduction.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like the culture has changed so much that we need to reintroduce this story because it's so freaking epic
Mm-hmm.
that we have to like retell it. Maybe like you could say West Side Story, which was a
Yeah.
retelling of Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah.
And then retelling Romeo and Juliet after West Side Story is like playing with, Baz Luhrmann's, with the music and some of the old, set pieces and stylized clothing,
Mm-hmm.
but using some modern elements like guns and cars
Mm-hmm.
and things like that.
Yeah.
Or maybe there's a cultural translation that that deepens the material.
Mhm.
Like maybe you've adapted something from another culture.
Mhm.
There are a lot of things that we adapt into the English language, and then people adapt from other movies. I watched a movie this weekend. It's not like a great cultural impact, but it was called Retribution, and it was like it was a remake of a European film, and the movie takes place in Europe, but it takes place in English. But it was called Retribution. It had Liam Neeson, and it's like about a guy who's driving around, and he gets a phone call, and like the seats are all rigged to bomb, like to blow up if you get out of the driver's seat. And so he can't get out of the driver's seat, but his kid's in the back seat. And so, but it was a remake of another film. But the reason why they did it was because they wanted to tell it to like the American lens. But ironically, they made the movie in Europe again.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess it was because a lot of movies are made in English so that it can be enjoyed by that general audience. And sometimes there's like a tonal reinvention.
Yeah.
Like the tone, like you're approaching the material in such a different tone that it's almost like a new movie. Whereas like at Moana, it was just like, this is this exact same thing. It's like, why?
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is a thing that Disney has done in the latest years.
And I think like sometimes a star or the director can interpret the material in new ways, like Christopher Nolan with the Dark Knight series.
Yeah.
That's why it's interesting because it's like, in some ways he's been doing that forever. It's like, it's not a new thing. But with the Odyssey, maybe it feels different. I'm not against it. I want, if it's a great film, let's let it ride on its own merits. But there's a lot of questions. It's like, and on some levels he's checking boxes, like retelling the story through a new cultural lens. But then it's like, at what point are you betraying the source material? So I think that's a question too. Whereas Moana was like a true perfect adaptation, but that's not what we really needed. Whereas maybe the Odyssey is like so dramatically changed from the original source material that it feels like a betrayal of something that was the foundation of Western literature. And then like does the movie have a reason to exist beyond, let's say, brand recognition, right? And I think that's the example with like Star Wars or with a lot of these remakes. It's like you're just making it because you know that it's going to be a cash grab.
Which I think is one of the main questions, at least for me.
Absolutely. Yeah. Super chats to finance the Jimmy subscription so he can show up tomorrow. That's right, Dag Overhaul. You're hilarious.
But yeah, I mean, super chats for that.
The Birdcage. All right. So yeah, I think the Birdcage was that like, it's a remake of 1978's French La Cage aux Folles. That's right. Robin Williams and Nathan Lane are hilarious. Yeah, The Birdcage really is a hysterical film, like laugh out loud funny. And he plays like in a relationship with what's that other guy's? He's like Latin.
Hank Azaria.
Yes, like he's not really Latin, but he plays those kind of roles. He was also in America's Sweethearts, which is a movie that was often overlooked from 2001, or maybe it was 2000, but America's Sweethearts.
So this is the Birdcage.
The Birdcage is really, really, really funny. And they're putting on a drag show. They literally live behind or in front of like a nightclub. So it's a really funny movie.
Thank you, Mark Sands.
That's right. Mark Sands says good job, Mario. Look it out.
Thank you.
All right.
Worst modern remake, Let Me In, the remake of Key the Ring 1 in. I haven't watched those. Why is it bad AG play in
Let Me In, to remake the right one in. There was a movie called Let the Right One In. I think that was about like young vampires, And I know that they remade that like relatively quickly because it was like in Dutch or something like that originally, or I think it was Dutch, French, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And they remade it. I think that's what he's referring to. You guys can let us know. You'll let us know so the Parent Trap, Velvet Hammer. That's a good example. The Parent Trap. There was the original with. I think that was made at least 3 times, but there was one with Jodie Foster, where she as a child, and then Lindsay Lohan made her version.
So the Parent Trap from 1961, the beloved original Disney film directed by David Swift, starring Hayley Mills as both identical twins, and Susan Evers and Sharon Grant.
Oh my gosh! Yes, you're right. I forget. That's the one that I grew up watching, the Hayley Mills version. She's freaking fabulous in that.
Oh wow!
She also did a movie called "Where Trouble Goes, Angels Follow." If anyone knows that, come on, that deserves a super chat. That's like really obscure, but that movie is so good.
Nice.
Where Trouble Goes, Angels Follow. I think that's what it's called. Or Where Angels Go, Trouble Follows.
Let us know, guys, if
Such
you
a great
know
movie.
about that movie.
Hayley Mills, super duper talented, super underrated.
Then we have
Saved by the Bell.
Then we have the 1998 version directed by Nancy Meyers.
Lad, good point.
This fan favorite remake stars Lindsay Lohan in her debut film as Annie James and Harley Parker. And then we have some TV sequels. Hayley Mills returned to star in 3 made-for-television follow-ups, The Parent Trap 2.
This movie is fantastic. Like, I cannot tell you how fantastic this movie is. Like, it's just so good on so many levels. And it's so, like, pure, too. It doesn't feel cheesy. And her performance is so convincing. She's just such a fabulous little actress.
I guess the visual effects are also impressive, I'm guessing. But Adlad said my pick.
Jimmy Winship says, "How green was my valley?" So I have to look that up. How green was my valley? Did they remake that? How green was my valley? I'd be curious if they actually remade that. But whenever they remake a movie in Hollywood, it's important to be like, if they're not immediately guilty for like, it's not, there's nothing inherently wrong, but it's like, you know, a remake that says like you think you know the story, but like look again and like we're gonna reveal something more about how deep the story can be. Whereas a bad remake is like, you know the story, so like buy it again. You know, where I actually think that the Nancy Meyers directed one with Lindsay Lohan was actually a great.
It was a fun.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
totally a wonderful movie.
Yeah.
Brent, what is your favorite TV show that came out this year? David Young. Oh gosh, my favorite TV show that came out this year. I haven't really seen a lot of TV shows that came out this year.
Which one was yours, David Young?
I mean, Jimmy really likes that show, Dutton Ranch. I enjoyed what I saw from that. But I'm not a huge TV person. Because what is TV anyway? TV just means like it's a series. So I think, what is TV?
Yeah.
So David Young, that's a good question.
Yes. I mean, if you have Rex.
I actually did like, I mean, I think it had its flaws, but I loved The Wheel of Time. It's not from this year, I don't think. But if you haven't seen The Wheel of Time, I really recommend it. But I think they made some mistakes that kind of, you know, angered the audience in terms of casting decisions. But Rosamund Pike does an incredible job as a star in Wheel of Time.
Dag Overhaul says FBI season 8. Does that count? Absolutely.
Dag Overhaul, I was going to say that. I was going to say, well, go check out FBI season 8, episode 18. Mark Sands, thank you. Keep the great content coming.
Thank you.
I'm dedicated elsewhere. Love you. Thank you, Mark Sands.
Thank you so
Mark
much.
Sands. Appreciate you. Seriously. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Big heart. I remember the first time I ever saw that was Taylor doing that. And I was like, what is she doing? They're like, that's a heart. And I was like, oh.
Now we have this.
Is that what they do? Just this?
Yeah.
I feel like some people might misinterpret that as if they're like, mamma mia, papi.
But thank you, Mark Sands. Have a
you,
great
Mark
day.
Sands. Truly. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Love you, Mark Sands. Thank you. If you guys are new here, don't forget to like the video.
Yes.
So there's some visual examples for us to pull up. Like remakes, it became like very definitive. Like The Thing.
Definitely.
The Thing is a movie that was remade. The Fly. The Fly is like body horror reinvention. The Fly that had Jeff Goldblum. Which if you'll see, like there's so many different crossovers because like Jeff Goldblum was in the latest iteration of something that was Oz related. He's playing the great and powerful Oz in Wicked. part one and two. Here's the Thing.
Yeah.
So The Thing is like a terrifying film, but the remake was actually good. I think there was an earlier version of this. And The Fly, so body horror reinvention. So The Fly was with Jeff Goldblum, who like slowly like morphs into a fly, and like the body horror aspect of that.
Yeah, from 1986.
Good year.
Directed by David Cronenberg. But we also had a 1958 film, which is again covering the same plot. So we have these two versions as
Kurt
well.
Russell was great, and the thing and he's still working. He's actually on, I think, the Madison right now television show with Michelle Pfeiffer, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I know he was recently on a show called it's not, I don't want to say Monolith. I think it was, I can't remember the name of it. It was something like, it was on Apple, but again, Apple is kind of it's like one more subscription services that a lot of people are not willing to sign up for.
So this is a movie poster from the first version, which was 1958, directed by Kurt Newman, The Fly as well.
It's a really famous poster too. Once it was human, even as you and I. Yeah. That's a great poster. Like, that's very intriguing. It's like, it makes you curious to see we have 4 more super chats, by the way. But this makes me like intrigued and want to go see the movie.
Yeah, and the film was followed by 2 sequels, Return of the Fly in 1959 and Curse of the Fly in 1965. So the remake was also from 1986, and it's also followed by a 1989 sequel, The Fly 2. So there's plenty of versions of this.
So the idea of remaking a movie is not necessarily something new or having sequels. It just feels like now where it's like the rule versus like being something that, the exception to the rule.
Yeah.
And again, I think a lot of these remakes deserve to be remade, especially with The Fly, because the 1986 version did a great job of playing with the physical prosthetics and like creating that body horror.
I think sorry for interrupting.
No, you're good.
But I think it's interesting to see that there's sometimes also big names attached to these movies, like on the remakes, in the remake version, which, for example, David Cronenberg.
There, I think. So it's like they kind of know that there's going to be a built-in audience. People are curious to see like how they redo this thing. So in a way, you can kind of justify like having a bigger budget because the story is already kind of pre-sold, and if you have a star, then it makes the movie feel, at least up until Moana, it makes it feel more secure. Makes it feel like this is a pre-sold idea.
Yeah.
Here's Ocean's 11, which is like, I don't think people realize is a remake.
Right. I mean, we have a 1961 version directed by Louis Milestone, and the original heist film was released on August 10 and served as a glamorous showcase for the legendary Rat Pack.
That's right.
It was with Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr., Peter Lawford, and Angie Dickinson.
Those famous people from that era were the Rat Pack. And then like in the 80s, you had like Demi Moore and some of these other actors from, you guys can let me know, people from the Brat Pack from the 80s, people that were like in the Breakfast Club and like St. Elmo's Fire. They were called the Brat Pack later, but the Rat Pack was the original. And in this movie, the reason why was it Steven Soderbergh, right?
Yeah.
So this is
2001.
Yeah, so this has style, like some star reinvention of the different characters.
Yeah.
And so this was like a remake that made sense because it brought a new artistic flair to it and a unique directorial point of view.
And there's also another version that's with Sandra Bullock. What's the name?
There was Ocean's 12 and then Ocean's 13.
Ocean's 12,
I think it's Ocean's 12 or Ocean's 13.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is like the name too, because I think there are like 11 like people involved with the heist or whatever it is. And I think it's Ocean's 13. I could be wrong.
I think, yeah.
Like Kate Blanchett is in it as well.
It's full of stars as well. Like
Rihanna's in it, Anne Hathaway is in it, Helena Bonham Carter's in it. Like it's just full of stars. And in that movie, they would rob the Met Gala. And that was also like another way of doing it, but like having them all be like females. So that kind of like got the Ghostbusters treatment. Although the movie, I think, performed much better because Ghostbusters was like a whole fiasco. The 2016 Ghostbusters. which I actually recently watched that movie, and I actually don't think it's a bad movie, the 2016 version. But
It's
I
fun.
understand why. I understand why there was such pushback behind it.
Hmm.
But I think it also it created a situation where the movie didn't have a chance.
Hmm.
Which I understand because like they made Chris Hemsworth like very very dumb, and like I don't understand like the real point behind that aspect of it. But there's a lot of great like little jokes in there in terms of like the script writing from my experience.
Hmm.
A lot of great, really funny aspects in the 2016 Ghostbusters. But I totally understand why people are pushed back against that hard.
Yeah.
Totally get it.
Yeah. Then another example is Scarface. So Scarface also has a previous film that's the original from 1932, directed by Howard Hawks and produced by Howard Hughes.
Say hello to my little friend. Yeah, Scarface is very famous. Yeah. Michelle Pfeiffer's also in this.
So the 1932 version is pre-code, and it's also a classic, and it's loosely based on the life of Al Capone. But then we have the remake, for which we have the poster on screen from 1983, directed by Brian De Palma with a screenplay by Oliver Stone. This version shifts the setting in criminal trade while keeping the core themes of greed and excess. And we have Al Pacino, of course, in this one, known for his highly stylized violence, iconic quotes, and pop opera aesthetic.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for liking the video.
Thank you, Andre. It has become a pop culture phenomenon distinct from the original. So they both are, famous for what they are.
Provocative, this movie. And also, it's like it makes you wonder, like, if movies like this could get made today. Right. I think maybe they can. I recently saw some. I went on a whole movie marathon this weekend, and I saw a lot of movies that showcase a lot of, let's say, movie violence. But I think some of it has to do with like how unhinged the character is too. And this guy was like really crazy.
Yeah,
like say hello to my little friend.
It's definitely like violence is definitely a big thing of that movie.
Well, they say like romance. This is just as broadly generalizing, but like romance brings in like women, and then violence brings in the men. And so when they try to check all these different boxes, oftentimes, especially if it's rated R, it's very risky making a rated R movie because you're inherently limiting your audience. You're unlikely to bring a family to your film. But then again, you can make Moana, and then and people are not going to come to it because it's like, well, we just saw this movie. We can watch. Or we'll wait until it goes to streaming too. I think that's part of it as well.
Yeah, like we saw it not long ago. So,
and how much of an appetite is there?
Yeah, and then another example of remake is True Grit.
True Grit is actually a great film, and that was by the Coen brothers. The remake with Haley Steinfeld. I really enjoyed that. Did you get to see that?
No. Honestly, no.
I recommend it. It's good. I remember kind of resisting seeing it at the time. I was like, but it's really good. It's really well done.
Yeah.
True Grit.
From 2010. And then we have the original version from 1969, directed by Henry Hathaway, starring John Wayne, Kim Darby, Glenn Campbell. And so it is a more traditional Hollywood Western. John Wayne brings immense charisma and a slightly more comedic, softer edge to the hardened U.S. Marshal, and the film focuses heavily on the charm of the iconic lead actor and features a lush traditional orchestral score. And the version from 2010, directed by Joel and Nathan Cohen.
Kiss of Life that we both resisted seeing it, but it's actually really good.
It's
this movie they storyboarded every single, which is typical of the Coen brothers. But they storyboarded like every single frame.
Well,
and that's beforehand.
Well, so the vibe is more gritty, atmospheric, revisionist Western. This version leans into the stark, unforgiving nature of the frontier and leans away from Hollywood romanticism. Jeff Bridges plays Cockburn as more authentically unkempt and gruff, while Haley Steinfeld's Oscar-nominated performance as Maddie perfectly captures the relentless, fiercely stubborn teenage protagonist from the novel.
It's like a revenge movie too. She's like seeking revenge, and so it's a really cool movie. Like I was thoroughly impressed with this film when I saw this 2010 version. Very, very good. So I highly recommend it.
I have to watch it.
Yeah, you have to add it to your list.
Yeah.
It's not like at the top of my list, but it's something about like, grit is a term that we use in being able to be in harsh conditions.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, what is true grit? Like true grit is like being able to like rough the tough times and like get through it. And I think it's kind of like that's why Jimmy loves camping and stuff, is because it's like it requires some level of true grit. And they have to go through like the harsh elements. She has to, there's like a revenge story. There's all the different things that come with the Wild Wild West, the unpredictability of it all, lawlessness, taking matters into your own hand in terms of like, enacting justice, like vigilante justice, you could say. Very, very cool movie. And just well done. And people just moved at a slower pace back then.
Yeah.
And so in the movie, it's taking place in like the 1800s or something. So it's really a cool film. And it just reminds you, people's like, well, you're going to have to, riding on the back, It's funny how people used to, now are so explanatory. And back then it was just, a lot of stuff was, you understood what they said with just little words.
Context, yeah. So,
hey, Adlad. Hey, shout out. Hey,
Adlad,
Jim Winship.
Good night, everyone.
Like real hardship. Good point, Jim Winship.
So, chat, name a remake that is better than the original, in your opinion. That's our question for you guys. Name a remake that's better than the original, in your opinion.
A remake that's better than the original? Maybe A Star is Born.
Yeah, I think.
And like again, The Godfather. People love The Godfather. Like the sequel. It's not that's not a remake. That's a sequel. But
yeah,
maybe you can include that in there.
Yeah. Let us know, guys.
I like The Star is Born from the 1950s.
Yeah. There was a chance for movies to be remade once they pass like a certain threshold. For example, like the earliest version that were probably like in black and white, then we could have seen them in like Technicolor or color in general. So that's kind of like a good pretext, let's say, to remake a film. But nowadays is less of that, I would say.
Yeah, it just feels like it's very quick, and there's like a period of, it's like, we know these are safe to remake, but now they're not being safe, right?
Yeah.
And we're referring to like the kind of the disastrous opening of Moana, and also Supergirl. So this is IP that it feels like on paper it should work, but then as the movie gets closer, they start to do, testing of audience awareness and audience interest in going to see these films. And then the numbers speak for themselves in terms of how many people actually went out to buy a ticket.
Yeah.
So I don't necessarily think audiences are like cynical, let's say. I just think that they don't want to buy into something if they feel like it doesn't feel inherently like artistically, like it has the merit, And so, whereas then other things, like I think The Devil Wears Prada, people felt so good with the first movie.
Yeah.
So many people went out to go see the sequel because the first movie made you feel so good. And maybe it wasn't as good of a movie, but it made a ton of money.
Yeah, and the original is a very good film.
Yeah.
And so
I didn't really care for the sequel, but I also don't. I think it was kind of there was no way to up because so many people love the first Harry Potter movie because it's like the discovery of the world. But I think the movies actually get better and better. But I understand why some people, it's like their favorite will always be the first one because it was your first introduction to the wizarding world of Harry Potter and how it's so magical. But I like how like the movies actually kind of get dark, and as the kids get older and they're having to deal with new threats and things like that.
Yeah.
And also they're direct, adaptations from the books. So none of that felt hammy. Whereas like now there's like a series based off of it, which I don't think people are talking about. I don't hear about it.
Not necessarily.
I don't. If I hear about it, it's usually something bad.
Yeah, I mean.
So it's like, why are we already making Harry Potter when Harry Potter was like such a classic? It's like we're already doing that with all of the properties, like Lord of the Rings. There's now the Rings of Power, which I don't hear anybody. Hunger Games. Yeah. But I don't hear people hooting and hollering over these
new
reboots because the originals were already so magical and so perfect, and also still very current. Like
exactly, yeah. Which was kind of like the idea, right, of letting some time between the original and the remade version.
Exactly.
That way we can also see like the novelty.
How society changed?
Exactly.
How we tell this story in a
cultural point of view as well.
I think it's downright bizarre, but I think the model was those early live action remakes from the Disney films, like Beauty and the Beast and The Lion King. and then just recently Lilo and Stitch did really well.
Yeah.
So it just kind of was like, well, of course we're going to keep remaking them. But I do think there's on a subconscious level, a lot of audience members knew, like, if we're not going to go see Moana, because like otherwise we're just not going to stop.
I think I saw a lot of people talking about that. So, which coming from a viewer's perspective makes sense to also kind of.
Woman, are you talking about the one with Al Pacino?
Kind of.
A Woman is a film about a blind man like falls in love with a woman.
Oh yeah. I've seen that one. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, you guys don't forget to like the video if you're here.
Yes. So.
But yeah, Scent of a Woman is. I have to go back and watch that again because I have there's some really vivid scenes that stand out in my mind. Like when he walks into this ballroom and there's like a romantic scene there.
I enjoyed that movie. Yeah. I didn't know it was also a remake.
Mark Sands, I'm with you. It's like, don't mess with Harry Potter. I'm like, it is so fresh. Like those movies are so incredible. And I'm like, why are you why? Because in a way, it's like you're doing more damage, you know? But I think it's this constant need to fill your schedule on the streaming services with stuff that feels iconic. But I haven't watched has anyone seen the new series? I haven't.
I think it's coming out.
I have nothing against it.
I think they mentioned it's coming out on Christmas. Well, around that time.
Are you kidding me? I thought it was already out.
I'm not sure. You can.
How much pre-production do they need? The kids are going to be in high school by the time they're going to be in college. But they've been talking about this. I thought it was already out. I thought the first season was already out.
So it comes out. Oh yeah, on Christmas. Yeah.
So the first season's coming out on Christmas?
Yeah.
That's crazy. So there must have been huge delays because they've been talking about that for over 2 years.
So it's a 10-year project. Is that right? Is that correct?
Oh, right. It's because they're planning on making every season like a semester or something. It's but I also think that can be very dangerous.
Yeah. Imagine
if it doesn't work.
Yeah. Like the fatigue that might also be.
Yeah. Well, maybe they're pushing it down the road too to give us some space. But keep in mind too, a lot of these movies from the dark fantasy era that we were looking at, the Krull, and Conan. It's some of these movies had intended sequels, but that never manifested because it didn't perform. Or Highlander, had some sequels, but the sequels never lived up to the hype. But we'll see. Sometimes it's or Supergirl. It's the other movies they already filmed. Part of Man of Tomorrow. So even though Supergirl will dramatically underperformed, they're still moving forward with Man of Tomorrow because they're just hoping that there's going to be more acceptance of the Superman film versus the Supergirl film.
Correct. And so we are moving on to a new segment, which is called The Great Remakes That Prove the Argument. And this is where we are going to try to be nuanced. So we have some case studies.
Yeah.
Some remakes or reboots that actually worked.
I grew out of watching Stranger Things 2, Velvet Hammer. Velvet Hammer, you and I are on the same wavelength. I watched the first 2 or 3 seasons of and I was like, I get the gist of it, but I couldn't keep watching it because I was like, I get where they're going with this, but I'm not invested enough to keep watching it because the magic of the first season or 2, I thought was really good and also very inherently addictive. They did a good job of making me interested. But I didn't watch past the second or third. Whenever Sean Astin's character was killed, the one who was dating Winona Ryder, that's the last episode I saw. Not that I was mad that they killed him. I mean, I guess maybe on some level I was, but that was the last one I watched because whenever the monsters started becoming more and more real and more out there. But I loved the early days when Barbara got taken. Some of the characters that were really interesting.
It was very interesting for also the time that
people were itching for that 80s nostalgia.
Yes.
J.J. Abrams kind of reawoken with Super 8, that movie Super 8. I feel like Stranger Things was a series of Super 8.
Yeah.
Because remember there's this crazy alien inside of a train, a spider type thing.
Yeah, it was definitely a fresh style, but I do think that to me at least it happened that it took so long for the seasons to get released.
Oh my gosh.
So I think I mean in some ways that could work, I guess, but with a series like that and also with child actors it might be harder. So the first example of a remake that worked that we have is The Thing, which we covered a little bit earlier.
The thing, yeah, that worked.
But the remake became the cultural standard because it had a stronger horror identity
I
and
don't know
practical
about
effects nightmare
Karen
logic.
Baskin. Mm-hmm.
So,
Yo, kudos for Mario. Super chats for Mario for
Thank
being
you.
behind the producer's desk today. And not that it's his first time, but
thank you guys for being here. Was this directed by David Cronenberg as well?
I think this was David Carpenter, right?
Oh,
Was this John Carpenter? I think this is John Carpenter.
Oh, you're right. Yes, John Carpenter.
Because
yes.
John Carpenter was like the king of the creature feature.
You're right. You're right.
And
yes.
he also did Halloween. So John Carpenter was really, really famous for this era. Him and then like Wes Craven for doing, scary stuff with some practical effects. Because remember, Wes Craven did Nightmare on Elm Street.
You're right. You're right. I'm remembering now. So The Thing spans 3 live-action movies based on the 1938 novella Who Goes There by John Campbell. So we have the 1951 version, which is the original black and white classic, which features a more straightforward monster movie take on the material. Then we have The Thing from 1982, which we have on screen. Yeah, John Carpenter's masterpiece.
A lot of good movies coming out of the 80s.
Yes.
A lot of practical effects.
Yeah. Masterpiece of paranoia and practical effects. Tracking a shape-shifting alien at an American Antarctic research station.
Thank you, Velvet Hammer.
Thank you so much.
Great job, Mario.
Thank you so much, Velvet. Thank you so much. Really. Thank you.
Thank you, Velvet Hammer. And also, you're making really good points here. Like, he's on the same wavelength of me as like, resistance to certain things like True Grit and then actually enjoying it. But why do we resist it? For a variety of reasons. But this is, The Thing is a great film from 1982.
And we have a 2011 movie as well, a prequel to the 1982 film depicting the ill-fated Norwegian expedition before the events of the classic movie. So that's like a prequel. That
did it do well? I mean, I'd be curious because I didn't see that one. The 2011 remake of the prequel. I think that's another thing too, is like the phenomenon of the prequel.
Yeah.
And I think that was like, well, instead of, moving forward, let's say like how these characters got here, which I think is a very valid point.
So
sometimes it's kind of like,
yeah. So this version flopped, for example. It grossed only 31.5 million worldwide on a 38 million budget. So,
yeah, that bombed.
Yeah. Sadly, well, yeah.
I mean, listen, anytime a movie bombs, it's sad. Unless the movie is like symbolic of like everything wrong that we feel like what's happening with cinema. But I think it's always a matter of, listen, like some people may have like really not liked Return to Oz, let's say. But I think that movie was like very imaginative, daring, very haunting, very like dark fantasy. I could see why some people like saying, "Don't mess with my Wizard of Oz," but I also think that there was so much time, like 50 years or so in between the original and then like the Return to Oz, that you can get away with that. And the Return to Oz did not make the splash that they wanted it to. It does have a cult following.
Yeah.
So I think some properties you can make derivative work from, again, like Wicked, which is again another same bit derivative of the Wizard of Oz.
Yes. Then another movie we have is The Fly. We also covered it a little bit, but we have the original poster. I mean, the poster from the original movie here on screen. But then Cronenberg did a remake on sci-fi concept, turning into a body horror tragedy, which he's famous for, like doing that. I like his style a lot. But The Fly.
We can just jump to the next movie, I think, let's go to Casino Royale.
Okay.
Because that's a reboot that has like a tonal necessity. So, like Casino Royale, like why did we remake that one? It's like because there was something like stylistically and tonally that was really unique about. Because did you watch Casino Royale with Daniel Craig?
Yeah.
I thought it was really well done. I thought it was really beautiful. I didn't really realize it was a remake at the time.
Right. So the original is from 1967. directed
Yeah, for all
by
the Gen Zers and like the Love 6-7.
John Huston, Joseph McGrath, Ken Hughes, Val Guest, and Robert Parrish. Parrish. And then of course we have the Daniel Craig version.
Yeah, Gizmo, isn't that wild about?
But there was also 1954 television adaptation aired as part of the CBS anthology series Climax. This 1 hour episode is the earliest screen adaptation of Ian Fleming's novel. And again, this is a novel.
And it didn't Ian Fleming, didn't he do Sherlock Holmes?
No, he was,
what was his?
Conan Doyle.
Conan Doyle. Yeah, so Ian Fleming is the Bond guy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So the 2006 official reboot is widely recognized cinematic. It is a widely recognized cinematic adaptation that introduced Daniel Craig as James Bond and served as a gritty reboot for the original 007 franchise. It was directed by Martin Campbell and it stars Mads Mikkelsen as Le Chiffre and Eva Green as Vesper Lind. I like Eva Green. She's a great actress, and Mads as well.
Agreed. I think there's several movies in here like, you know, Casino Royale, Batman Begins, Mad Max, Fury Road. In terms of like, you know, that's a legacy revival with like really it felt you know, cinematically necessary. Top Gun Maverick, again, like escalating the emotional and the craft. Creed, which was provided like a new generational and a different point of view from the Rocky series.
I really enjoy the Creed movies, surprisingly.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can do a movie really well. And I think if you do a movie well, that's the idea, is like get us emotionally invested in the characters. Don't just rely so much on the source material. Where Wicked was amazing, Return to Oz didn't land at the time. That's right. Well, I also think Wicked also, if you really look at Wicked in terms of the actual numbers, I do think it underperformed. Like I don't think it made as much of a splash as they wanted it to, considering that was like a global press tour.
And also
like, they did. I don't think those movies. I think that like the publicists have kept us away from the fact that those movies really underperformed. They weren't like huge box office disappointments, but they underperformed
because they also had like 2 parts, which I think is indicative that they expected it to have like commercial success on a broader level.
Right. And I think less people saw the sequel than the first one, which was like, okay, like, yeah, we got it.
Right.
But the musical on Broadway was really magical, like popular. You gonna be popular. Had you heard the music before the musical came out? Yeah. The music was like transcended the musical play itself, because it just like broke into the zeitgeist. A lot of those songs. So it's like, or Defying Gravity. I think I'll try Defying Gravity. You know, depending on who was in your surroundings. I was obviously around a lot of musical theater people that love this kind of stuff. So for me, I was very aware. Misery, John Scott, that's a great movie. You know, I went to the same school as Kathy Bates.
Oh.
Southern Methodist University. Yeah, we both went to the Meadows School of the Arts.
Interesting. So
Bond was Ian Fleming. You're right, John Scott. That's right.
Yeah.
So guys, don't forget to like the video if you're here. It helps us out a ton.
Yes, it does, guys.
Let's
please do so.
Unless you already have something ready.
We have Dune on screen real quick, just because they mentioned it really quickly. Absolutely. And so it was adapted by Denis Villeneuve in 2019, I think.
It's Denis Villeneuve.
Denis Villeneuve.
Yeah. And there's a third part coming out.
Yes. Yeah. But it is obviously coming from the book, the original 6-part story. And then we have the 1984 film directed by David Lynch, which is polarizing, I think. He had
Dune from him?
Yeah, David Lynch.
Yeah. Is that where the cover with the blue eyes?
Yeah.
I saw that. It was polarizing, but Dune takes place over like millennia. Like it takes place over like tens of thousands of years. So the Dune saga is so enormous. There are videos you can watch, and it'll break it down for you, and it'll blow your mind.
Yeah,
you're like, what the heck? Like Dune, the books take place again over tens of thousands of years. So this is obviously showing whatever his name is,
Timothy
Timothy's
Chalamet.
character. Yeah, but the Dune saga is so expansive in scope. But I love the idea of like this planet that has this spice.
Yeah.
And the spice is like it's everywhere and it's in everything. It's almost like water, you know, but it's so necessary. But they need it to do interstellar travel, like for warp speed. So that's what the spice without it, they can't do that. And I love the idea of like space witches. You know, I was it Jodorowsky who like tried to make Dune before Star Wars.
Yeah.
And a lot of the people that were doing the creative art of stuff, like the practical effects, ended up working on Star Wars. And also like Alien too.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dune is really cool. I'm not like obsessed with these movies, but I love the source material.
They have an interesting aesthetic as well.
Absolutely.
I correct myself. It wasn't 2019. It
Agreed,
was
David Young.
2021. The Dune Part 1 by Denis Villeneuve.
Denis Villeneuve.
Yeah, and then we have the Part 2 from 2024, and then we'll have Part 3. And we also have some series based off the book. But
yeah, I saw the series. It was from a long time ago. But Dune, there's so much material. I mean, even Susan Sarandon was in the series. And you know, she was one of my favorite movies, Stepmom, from Chris Columbus, the same guy who did Home Alone.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay, movie idea. Jimmy as Huck Finn, but you've got to hurry. We will check it out.
We got to hurry to make that movie. We're working on a script where Jimmy is traveling to like go camping with like his dad, and like original script, and then like there's like a kidnapping kind of situation, and there's like an on the run type of very gritty story. Y'all let me know if y'all would what if that sounds interesting to you. But like the dad and him like have to like kind of like they're already fighting at the beginning of the story, and then like they get torn apart, and like at the end there's like this like kind of like coming together, and it's like cry because they've, you know, reconciled, but also like they're both alive at the end of it. So hooray and miracle.
Yeah.
And if y'all are new to the channel, we're talking about Jimmy from Jimmy Explores. If you haven't subscribed to Jimmy Explores, y'all do that.
Yes,
Jimmy
please
Explores.
do so.
Don't forget to like the video if you're just not here.
Yeah. And then just quickly as well, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, another franchise.
I cried when I saw that movie. Isn't that funny? Maybe there's a lot going on in my life because it wasn't that long ago. It was like 5 years ago.
I think so.
But I watched that movie and I cried. And I saw the movie in Ecuador, and I like cried. I saw the thing in Spanish, but you know, the Shrek series has spawned so many different characters, and they're doing the donkey movies now too.
Oh, so yeah.
The burro, the donkey, he's going to have his own.
I saw that a little bit about that too.
Yeah. And so I actually think those are going to work. It's not like direct sequels like Toy Story, because like Toy Story 5 is doing well. There may be some criticism in terms of like what they've done with Buzz Lightyear and Woody.
Yeah.
Particularly Buzz Lightyear, they kind of made him really dumb.
Yeah.
And just kind of like irrelevant. But Toy Story 5, I think people are generally happy with it.
Yeah.
But Shrek, it's like I think they have a direct sequel coming out, but it also, I know because like the main actor in Spanish is not coming back. Alfonso Obregón.
Yeah, he has scandals going on.
Well, is he having a scandal, or is it more just like he doesn't want to do it because he's saying that?
I think both things, because he has a scandal like going around him as well.
Oh, really?
Like that was recent.
I wonder if that was manufactured though. I wonder if that was real.
I guess.
Because what was the scandal?
That he got with a younger actress. So
I don't know if I believe that. I've actually interviewed him. We did that whenever we had a podcast.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. So, I mean,
it might be just
Who knows?
Yeah.
But so, just so you guys know, for these really big Spanish movies, really big animated movies, like the international voice cast, like let's say in Spanish or some of these other major languages, they're not celebrities. Sometimes they do just do like star casting. But like the guy who did Shrek for the first 4 movies, like he's not a famous person, you know,
right.
but the donkey was arguably Mexico's most famous person.
Yeah.
And then obviously this is Puss in Boots. So the last one was the Last Wish.
The Last Wish.
Yeah, this is a character voiced by Antonio Banderas.
I think his dubbing is also very recognizable.
Absolutely. And Salma Hayek was in this movie with him as well.
Yeah. I enjoyed this movie too. It is playful.
She plays another kitty cat.
Yeah, like the animation style was also very unique at the time. And nobody expected a Shrek spin-off sequel to have more soul than half of modern franchise cinema. But
absolutely, but it did. This movie really had like some really strong messages in it.
Yeah, I think it covered good topics. Like they're like deep, profound topics.
I think you can sneak in like really profound messages into these movies. Yeah. And sometimes it's like crucial to the story. Like the villain, like we understand like why the villain is because it's Goldilocks. You know Goldilocks and Three Bears.
Oh,
like she turns out to be like crazy.
Yeah.
But you find out why, because I think she has like abandonment syndrome and she doesn't have anyone to like call her own. And so it was like it explored a lot of things that we struggle with. Like last night, listen, I had a nightmare last night, and I was in my childhood bedroom back in the 80s. And I'm like, wow, why am I being transported? It was because there's obviously some unresolved trauma. You know what I mean? Not to be like trauma, but that's real.
It is.
But I was like, why am I going back into this bedroom?
Yeah.
You know, and I had a dream that I like woke up and like went to the fridge and like got a bottle of water. And then when I woke up, I was like so thirsty.
Well, yeah.
But I was back in my childhood bedroom from like 1980. Like I was like, wow. Like that's wild. So it was like, you know, but that movie explores things and it kind of gives you permission to like heal. So some of these movies are cathartic in that way, you know, because you get to kind of imprint onto them. You know, you get to be like, okay, like these characters are dealing with this stuff, and you know, we all have stuff that we haven't resolved every single thing that's happened to us.
Yeah.
And so this movie explores that. This last one,
yes.
I really thought that was good.
Yeah, it is very
animation is a good Trojan horse for adult humor. Absolutely.
Yes, it's interesting to sometimes see like movies,
multiple jokes,
like later on your life, and realizing, oh, this is a
thing
for adults. Yeah,
absolutely.
So that's very interesting as well.
Sometimes they use the word like a backdoor. John's got too. It's like there's like a backdoor into like the providing audience for the parents or for the adults who are watching the film, while also having like the visuals being fantastical and interesting and varied enough to maintain the younger audience, and having jokes in there for them. I think a lot of the jokes for the kids are visual gags, and then some of the dialogue tends to be for the older audience. Who can like wrap their mind around some double entendres or some more sophisticated jokes, let's say. But I think that's an example of like maybe they're milking the Shrek franchise, but I actually think that that's valid and it makes sense because the movies are have a lot of heart.
Yeah, they do. Now we're moving on to a more specific section where we will talk about Disney live action remakes. So the museum gift shop there.
Thank you, Mark Sands.
Thank you.
If you want to write, if you help, I'll help you write it if you like. Reach if you're interested, Brent. You might have Mark. I would absolutely love the help because we have to make it like it's self-contained enough, Mark Sands, where we can film this on a relatively tight budget. But you know, not that it's a nothing burger. It has to be enough that it's. But it would be something that we'd probably just put on YouTube, because to showcase Jimmy's acting ability, and also like highlight great cinematography, acting, you know, all the different things that you want to see in a film. I thought about doing a short film first, you know, as like maybe like something like a chase scene, and then like ending on like a cliffhanger or something that's like kind of intrigues you for the bigger film. It just depends. Filmmaking is tricky at the highest levels, and that's why again Disney's remaking everything. That's why that's our next topic, is because it's like they don't really know what to make, so it's like we're just gonna keep remaking everything, and so we're gonna look at some of those. But Mark Sands, I would love that help.
Thank you, Mark Sands.
Kidding me?
Yes. Thank you.
But I think it'd be really cool to see like a kid who's in conflict with his dad, and then they're thrown into a situation where they have to like, you know, fight for their lives, and then at the end it's like wow, like we were fighting over nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, especially when you're put into a situation that's so like dire. That
Mm-hmm.
there's so many, it's so consequential, like life and death. But you know, kids fight with their parents so much.
Mm-hmm.
Mark Sands, I believe you. I believe you, and I appreciate you super chatting.
Thank you, Mark Sands. Yes.
Because we're 2 super chats away from, and don't forget to like the video.
Yes, please do so. So yeah,
thank you for being a member. You guys can watch all the previous
Sense.
videos by being a member.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so the Disney live action remakes. Okay, so they often understand like what made the animated versions like truly function and work like on the key story, and so the question is like, animation isn't a lesser form waiting to become real, but it's starting to feel like they're treating it like as such. Like they're treating it like, okay, well, all this stuff was like the groundwork, and now it's like it's time for us to make the live action version of it. But have we ever seen a live action Disney movie that we felt like was inherently superior?
Right. I think that's a very good question.
I think we have.
And I think you tackle a very good point, because the idea of animation being like a lower tier level of filmmaking.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not
S tier.
Yeah.
It's not.
I mean, it makes it feels that way.
It's reductive.
Yeah.
There's derivative, which is fine, but then if it's reductive, that's different.
Mm-hmm. So, for example, Alice in Wonderland. This was one.
You're funny.
This is one of the remakes that I didn't enjoy.
You despised.
I mean, not to be.
Did you know I went and saw this, but I have no memory of it.
Oh wow. I wish that was me.
I literally have no memory of it. I walked in and I remember thinking like, I think it's because everything felt so fakey. Because I think this was Tim Burton, but
yes, yeah.
But I think that this is where we started to feel like Tim Burton was like a bit losing a bit of the magic.
I think
I remember nothing. I don't remember any. I mean, I remember nothing except for maybe Helena Bonham Carter's like Queen of Hearts.
Yeah,
but I think that's also because it was so memed that's really what sticks out in my mind.
Yeah,
but this movie, you guys let us know. Did y'all watch this movie, and what did y'all think about this? Alice in Wonderland, the live action version
by Tim Burton.
I think that there's probably like there's so much work and effort that I'm sure went into this, and I know it made like $1 billion. But it doesn't. But I don't think people are like, oh, like on some level. This actress too, she kind of like got disenchanted with the whole industry after this and a couple of other films.
Makes sense.
Her name was like Mia Wachowski or something like that. But she just kind of like left the industry because they were giving her like these big giant projects to work on, but I think it kind of felt like so much was resting on her shoulders because she was like, but she just kind of stopped working.
I just saw her in a smaller film, like an Australian film.
This
horror.
May be her return.
So yeah, horror. Mia Wasikowska.
Yeah,
but yeah, I also noticed that she took like a pause on filmmaking after this, which was a shame for me because Tim Burton is also like a very known director. I guess that's the reason why he was picked for this movie.
And he was working with Johnny Depp a lot. He did Sleepy Hollow with him.
Yeah.
He did The Demon Barber, Sweeney Todd.
Yeah.
He's done a lot of, I love his Batman movies. I love Beetlejuice. I don't actually blame him as much. I think there's just a point where this, like, you're given so much free reign with like the new digital arts that are out there. That you want to play with all of them, but then if you cram in too much and you take away, some of the physical aspects of, again, this is like a dark fantasy.
Yeah,
but it's still, because I mean, like, listen, look how desaturated the color is on the.
Yeah.
But maybe on some level, it was like Willy Wonka was too much color, and so they're like, okay, now we have to do, because Tim Burton did that one as well with Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
There's like this whole kind of renaissance in terms of money. I don't think people necessarily said these movies stuck out in their minds. Like they didn't. I'm not going out to rewatch these movies, but I don't. But so I think that there's something. There's something about remaking a movie that you have to. I don't think he did it wrong. I would just say that so many people are just going to be inherently against it because you can't have the same level of magic. Listen, they recently remade RoboCop, and they made a really good point. They said this movie would have done well if we didn't call it RoboCop because it was so different. We shouldn't have called it RoboCop. We should have just called it something different. And I was like, that's brilliant. And that was the main actor from that. He was saying that, like, people did not like our RoboCop, but he's like, I honestly think it's a good film, but we shouldn't have called it RoboCop because all people were doing were trying to compare the RoboCops. And RoboCop is a very famous movie because I was like in Dallas when they filmed that.
Yeah.
But I think that's a good point. It's like, why not call this like something a bit different? Kind of like instead of Wizard of Oz calling it Wicked and then taking a slightly different angle. But I guess it's because Alice is such the focal point. It would have been hard to make it from the Mad Hatter's point of view, let's say.
Yeah, I mean, to be quite honest, it was a shame for me because of the whole
Were you
thing.
traumatized?
I didn't like the movie. I'm sorry.
I think I just like blocked it out.
Although I will say, I think it had a cultural impact here in Mexico, at least. Like I saw like a lot of people dressing up as the Mad Hatter.
I think people also like cosplay in Mexico a lot.
Yeah, so
all across Mexico because I went to some different conventions, like just to kind of see what was going on. There's a lot of like the escapism into that world.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So we can give this movie that. But another example is Maleficent.
And Batman.
Yeah, Maleficent.
Yeah, Maleficent. Yeah. So this I think actually in some ways makes more sense because instead of it being Sleeping Beauty,
yeah, exactly.
Let's take the angle that like she's not so bad. And so I can actually get behind this, whether I think that movies are wonderful or not. I don't really remember the movies, but I don't think that I'm not against it. I do know that Angelina Jolie did not want to make the sequel.
Oh.
But she had to because after her divorce with Brad Pitt, she needed the money.
Wow, that's very interesting.
So she was like complaining, and I was in Hollywood at the time. She was like complaining that she really didn't want to do this movie, and it got out actually into the press. It was like kind of a scandal, and then she was like, "Oh no, I don't know what you're talking about." But she didn't really want to do the sequel, but she needed the money. But I actually think this is a falls into the territory where I don't blame them for doing trying to tackle this material.
Yeah.
Because I think it's really cool to explore, especially so when, on the surface, it's like, this seems like it makes sense to have this be a misunderstood villain. I think there are other pieces of art where they're doing it wrong. And like, there's a clear villain and the villain is actually allegorical. And if you try to explore that too much, it destroys the metaphor. I think this one, it works.
Yeah, that's a very good argument. But again,
good point, John.
it takes the original.
You guys, if you're new here, join the chat.
Yes,
let us know where you're watching from.
Please do so. If you take like the original movie, let's say, and then you turn it into something else via remaking it, then yeah, that makes sense. That makes more sense, at least.
I like how she could fly. I don't remember in Sleeping Beauty if she actually could fly. I think maybe she could transform, but she was like a straight up sorceress, like in the she puts the spindle and she puts her to sleep and and Sleeping Beauty. But in this one, she's like trying to, she's like her caretaker. She's like protecting her.
Yeah, like she turns out to be good.
My problem with Maleficent was that they try to make the villain have a sympathetic backstory, and Aurora's family and the fairies are either bad or bumbling. Good point, Adlad. Yeah, that's valid. That's valid criticism. That's totally valid criticism. But I think sometimes if you're going to commit to like a retelling, sometimes you do have to deviate from the source material. Now, it depends. Sometimes there's like enough room in there for you to actually adapt something, which I think was what they did with Wicked. Like there's enough in there that we don't know anything about the Wicked Witch, really. So it makes sense there's enough room in there to cram in all this backstory behind Elphaba's character, which she doesn't even have a name. She's just the Wicked Witch of the West or the East. So whereas in this one, John Scott, you make a really good point. Like they had to kind of rehash, some of the other characters. Although I will say that I think the fairies were always kind of goofy. Like the fairies were always like mumbling.
They were,
Like they were like protected, but there was some playfulness in terms of like they were competent, but they were bumbling. I'd have to watch the movie again to see.
I think so.
And there were some famous actresses, British actresses, like older actresses who would play the fairies.
And then another example is Cinderella, which is a bigger one, I think, because it's more also iconic.
I did not see this.
I did. It was very forgettable as well.
Who is that actress?
Let me see. I don't even know her name, but she is.
Is this where this is the line? It's like,
Lily.
I know you walked upon a dream.
No,
like,
I think that's.
Is that Sleeping Beauty?
That's actually Maleficent, I think, or Sleeping Beauty.
I think maybe Sleeping Beauty.
Yeah.
What is the song? What was her song?
Do
y'all remember her song from the original Disney movie?
Let us know, guys. This is Lily James. Lily James.
Oh, I remember. They kind of thought she was going to be like a really big star there for a while.
Yeah.
She was in Pam and Tommy.
Yeah, but the movie, wasn't. It wasn't very remarkable. It was more what was expected, maybe for a smaller remake. But the movie from 2021. Oh no, sorry, 2015.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is one of the earliest adaptations. Yeah. So like this was like one of the first times they and I remember there was a big actress in it that made me want to go see it. Like I think it was Laura Linney. I love Laura Linney. Isn't she in that? Wasn't she like one of the evils? Wasn't she like the evil stepmother?
No.
Was she in there or no?
No.
Okay, then I'm thinking of something else. I know she was in the Nanny Diaries. There was a period where they were putting Laura Linney in a lot of movies as like the villain. And I love Laura Linney. She's like one of my favorite actresses. And she did this show called oh my gosh, that show where she was in San Francisco and like everybody was like a queer character. This is like way before your time when she was like really young. She did a show called the Tales of the City. It's called Tales of the City.
Oh, okay.
They may know this. Oh yeah, bippity boppity boo. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's from Velvet Hammer. Thank you, Velvet Hammer. Thank
you.
Yeah. Anyway, Amistad Maupin's Tales of the City is I really recommend that. That's Laura Linney. Side note for everybody.
Yeah.
Go check out Armistead Maupin's Tales of the City. If you were like a person coming up and you were like trying to understand the world, like that TV series just like changed my life forever. Yeah. But bippity boppity boo.
Yes, you're right. Velvet Hammer. Thank you. Yeah. That's the song. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, this movie was 2015, directed by Kenneth Branagh.
So Kenneth Branagh, he also did. After this, he's really dedicated. Even before this, he's dedicated to doing Agatha Christie's works.
Yeah, Death on the Nile.
I think he wasn't. I know he's close to Emma Thompson, and they may have been married at one point. But Kenneth Branagh, he did all those movies, like Death, on the Orient Express, on the Nile, A Haunting in Venice. A Haunting in Venice was actually based off of one of Agatha Christie's like most least known stories, which is called Halloween Party. So, but I thought that he did a good job with The Haunting in Venice.
Did he produce The Devil Wears Prada too?
Wouldn't surprise me if he did.
Let me look it up.
I don't know if he did, but
it's showing up as part of his curriculum, but I'm not sure if he was a producer.
He's like Emma Thompson, like he can write, he can direct. He's very multi-talented. He's an actor as well. Kenneth Branagh.
Yeah.
It would make sense for him to do this because he's very trained in like the classical arts. So this he probably directed this almost like it was, like it was a historical drama.
Oh. So he was just in it. He was
just in it.
Actor.
Yeah. It makes sense.
Interesting. But another famous example, which I've also forgotten, to be honest, is also The Beauty and the Beast, which which is
Beauty and the Beast.
The original is very, very like nice. It's cute. It's
there goes the baker with his cherry like home.
It has some very, very good iconic music. But then again, the remake also felt it
kind of felt forced. Listen, I love Emma Watson, but she's not really a singer. Let's be honest. Not to say that I am either, but I think that it's kind of like you want to put someone in there who can really pull off the vocals.
Yeah.
But I think she really does look the part, like in terms of like just the aesthetic of the film. It's a very interesting, storyline in and of itself. Falling in love with the Beast. She was very young. This is like coming off of Harry Potter. What was this? 2015, 16?
This was
17.
Let me look it up.
But I love the original Beauty and the Beast. Like the sequences are so amazing.
Yeah.
Celine Dion has a song in there as well.
2017.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Directed by Bill Condon.
Bill Condon's done a lot.
this movie is, for example, one that I've forgotten. To be honest,
I pulled it up the other
really,
day and I was like, her vocals are so like auto tuned.
yeah, I
I just
really
couldn't
don't
stand
remember
it.
much of this film, but
But I think that there's some good things going for this film.
mm-hmm,
But I think
yeah,
they do feel like hollow. They feel you're not wrong, John Scott.
mm-hmm,
That's the point. Is that they kind of feel like, and in some ways they've gotten more and more hollow. And I think it does depend on the director. It depends on how they light things, how
mm-hmm,
much CGI. Obviously, that's not a real beast, right? So we
right,
know that there's a lot of CGI going on here.
yeah, yeah. But then we have another example of a remake, a Disney remake, that was also, I
This was
mean,
controversial too, just real quick, because
yeah,
Gaston, the guy, Josh Gad played like he was like in love with Gaston.
mm-hmm.
And so like his little
Oh
chevy,
yeah,
remember that?
yeah.
And he was like, he's like, and don't I deserve the best? He's like, of course, Gaston, you know.
Yeah.
And that was like a kind of a controversial thing, but it kind
Mm-hmm.
of made sense because in some ways it made like, why is this guy, you know, defending the Gaston character so much? You know?
Yeah, yeah. But let us know, guys, your thoughts on these movies and these remakes. Do you like the original best? Do you like the remake
For
best?
this one, I'd have to say the original, just because the
Mm-hmm.
magic that comes with it. It doesn't mean that there's not equal, if not more, effort that goes into some of these remakes, but the original magic that comes with it and the music, gosh,
Mhm.
it's like
Yeah,
be our
it's-
guest, be our
Mhm.
guest. You know,
just like the
it's
magic of
amazing.
animation in general.
Mhm.
But this is another movie, Disney remake that also bombed, I think. Mulan.
Mulan was a definite bomb,
Mm-hmm.
and that came out during like I think it was just before the global flu.
2020, yeah.
Yeah, so that was like at the height of it, and the director was a female. I remember she had a lot of bad press because like they were saying like.
I think this is where we started to see like the decline of all these movies,
the cracks,
like, because they also played like the role of recasting certain roles because of certain political decisions.
I remember that, yeah, because Mulan is like from mainland China.
Yeah, but they also corrected like this version of, you know, portraying Chinese people as we see them on the like animated film, for example.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, there's a lot of discussion around Mulan as well, because you know, there's like this discussion of about the like the guy that he was like in love with a male version of Mulan, like so I think there's like a lot of discussion behind Mulan that was also part of like the contribution for it to make it a bomb. And yeah, as you mentioned, it was like a time where, you know,
Velvet Hammer, you have to say that kind of stuff, otherwise you get shadow banned. So that's why.
Yeah. So
you say that Velvet Hammer. Point out. I'm glad you noticed though. He's like, LOL.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, there was a discussion around this movie, but it kind of also fell through the cracks because of it.
I think, you know, making movies deserves its own merit, but I think as a filmmaker, it can be a little bit disenchanting to go into a situation and know that, know that it's like, oh, this is so inherently controversial. It's like, how much of the blame am I going to get?
Yeah.
You know, but I remember seeing like some they were showing her like coming off of a roof and like flying in circles. And it just kind of seemed like a kind of a cheaper version of, you know, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. And I was like, I don't remember her having that much of a, you know, skill in the animated film. And the animated film had really beautiful music. And it was like, you know, who is that girl I see staring straight back at me? You know,
I think this is
from
like
Christina Aguilera did a song.
Yeah, I think like this is one of the movies that I really enjoyed, like the original one.
I love the original
from Disney.
I really did.
And then again, the remake also didn't feel spectacular, to be honest. Like
I don't even remember. I don't remember.
I didn't watch it, but
yeah. Well, the original, it's like, you know, it's like, you know, we'll make a man out of you. You know, it's like there's some great
fun
songs in there,
and there's also like a playful tone to it.
It really is, and the dragon is like very fun, sidekick energy.
Yeah.
I don't know how. I think that was one of the problems with Moana too. Like they had a chicken, and they had these different, you know, animals to come to life, and it was like it just makes them look creepy by bringing them to life. Whereas like in the animated film, it worked on its own. But yeah, you're right. This was one of the first times we saw like the true cracks in like the Disney remake, you know, in terms of financials.
Yeah. And speaking of creepy,
good point, John Scott.
speaking of creepy, we have Dumbo, the remake. Um, I honestly didn't watch the remake
Dumbo.
again.
Yeah.
But
This is
I
actually a story based off of my life. And no I'm kidding. But this is I didn't watch the remake either. Although I know there was some like Eva Green is a good actress. And I think
yeah.
there was like it had some stuff going for it. But I remember thinking like, why do we need to remake this? Because I'm like everything
Also,
has to inherently be made up because it's like you're on
yeah,
a freaking flying
a flying elephant.
elephant. Yeah.
And also the redesign of it is very well. It is kind of creepy. It is hard for me at least to kind of picture these cute creatures.
Yeah. Well,
coming
it took
to
away like the
life.
magic of it because it's like we start adding these like
Yeah,
skin tones and textures.
yeah. That
It's like how much do you need to make it?
which was a big critique of the Lion King, for example.
Absolutely. And a very nature documentary versus like a a true retelling.
Yeah.
So Dumbo, y'all let me know. Did y'all like Dumbo? Should we watch Dumbo? Does it deserve our watching? I didn't watch the Dune Dumbo. Or if I did, I erased it from my memory.
Right. But let us know your thoughts on these movies, guys. It's really.
I think it's a funny name though, Dumbo.
Yeah. I mean,
do you have vivid memories of watching the animated Dumbo?
Yeah, I really enjoyed
that was
it
a huge part of my childhood was Dumbo.
I enjoyed all these Disney originals. They were part of my childhood, definitely.
Velvet Hammer says, I never liked the Pinocchio or Dumbo movies. I actually had to be with you, Velvet Hammer, on that. I do like that. I like the story behind Pinocchio. Like, I'm a real boy. Like that idea of like making someone into a real boy and like the all the things going with that with Geppetto and etc.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dumbo wasn't like a big part of my childhood. Let's say.
It was cute. I mean, it wasn't the biggest picture like for me at the time.
Did it make money? Well, that was Tim Burton too, wasn't it?
That was, I think so. Yeah.
Because he worked with Eva Green on something else.
Yeah, you're right.
It was, but I'm pretty sure it was Tim Burton because
Tim Burton. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure because they were giving him stuff that I remember thinking like you're giving stuff to him that's kind of paint by numbers, and Tim Burton needs to have a bit more of a creative playground. But I will say, I think this is what's fascinating is that you can actually be a really established auteur director. Yeah. And even if you're Christopher Nolan or you're Tim Burton or you're still given IP. Because even Jurassic Park was from Michael Crichton. That was a book about a theme park gone wrong.
Yeah.
So what's interesting about this is that even if you're the highest of the high in your skill set, you're given IP because they still want to like enhance their odds of against failure.
Yeah.
So I think don't you think it's interesting that there are all these auteur directors who end up making stuff that's like derivative works? Like in a way, it's kind of surprising. Like Batman, I mean, he made it his own to an extent, of course.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like that helped establish him, put him on the map. But at the same time, it's like maybe they needed that to. Whereas Tim Burton had already done so many original pieces of work, like Beetlejuice.
Yeah. Correct.
Yeah.
The movie that you were talking
don't
about
forget
is
to like the video if you're new here.
Yes, Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. That was that
I actually liked. I think it had some flaws in the pacing, but I liked that movie.
Eva Green was
she's good.
I like her. Yeah. But yeah, for example, this movie, Tim Burton as well. Didn't I let me
Miss Peregrine. That what was cool about that is that they were in a time loop, so it's like this kid he goes back to this island, and they were like in like World War II near the end of World War II. They were in like in a time warp, and so it's like they kept reliving the same day over and over again. And so they were like running from these hidden monsters, and it was actually very scary. Like some of the threat in the film. So I thought Mrs. Peregrine's School for Peculiar Children was actually a pretty good film. I mean, I thought it was very imaginative and creative, and I think it was based off of something else. I think it was, but she like because there were so many things that were so specific. I didn't think Tim Burton would have come out with it because it was like she turns into a bird, and like all the different children have their unique things. It was kind of like the X-Men, except for instead of them having like a superpower, they have like a bizarre thing. Like there's this one girl, she's like eating out of the back of her head.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I didn't watch it yet, but there's like this particular things that makes film feel like maybe they were composed by many people.
Yeah.
And so Here it says that, for example, Dumbo was a box office disappointment. It grossed 353.3 million worldwide against a massive 170 million production budget.
I mean, it makes sense because I think it was like there's an uncanny valley for human beings,
Yeah,
and I think there is for like animals as well.
yeah.
Especially something that has like the skin tone and like the texture of like elephant skin.
Mhm.
So I think that alone would kind of freak people out. It's like I'm not necessarily going to sign up to go and have a fever, nightmare, and watching this. Well, maybe there's some aspects of it that are just wonderful, but I think this. I think it could probably spook people. But I don't think
so.
that anyone did anything inherently wrong. I just think it has something to do with like they were still learning what the live adaptations could do.
I think so. Yeah, yeah. But another example.
Avril Dalton, I'm glad you're here.
Thank you, Avril, for being here.
I'm glad you studied this stuff too, because it's very interesting. Like why something works, why something doesn't work. Also, something could in theory work, but the budget is so high that it creates a situation where it becomes nearly impossible for it to financially, let's say, work at the cinema. Right. And if you're new here, don't forget to like the video.
Yes.
But going back to Kenneth Branagh's version of Cinderella, like a lot of people, maybe you and I didn't watch it because we were already kind of skeptical. That one, people like said that it did work because it leaned into the sincerity and the classical romance, which is very Kenneth Branagh. And then like the Jungle Book had technological reasons to say like exist because that was the Jungle Book. I know was Jon Favreau who did like Iron Man and did he just recently did the Mandalorian and Grogu.
Yeah.
And then Maleficent tried to interpret the villain. So it's like sometimes you can identify an angle, and then other times it's like with Dumbo, it's like they're just trying to redo the exact same thing and make it realistic. Where it's like that doesn't translate. It was animated for a reason, maybe.
Correct.
Whereas Cinderella can make sense because they're all people, except for like maybe a fairy or the fairy godmother, but she's a person too, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And then the Moana situation is like it's a perfect current case study where it didn't, it bombed, but the reason why is because there are also so many family movies that are competing right now in the box office.
Yeah.
And that just felt like an unnecessary one to go see because when there's all this stuff, like at least Toy Story 5, it's a continuation of the story.
Yeah,
Whereas like Moana is like, well, we've literally seen this shot for shot, and then they added like one song in, and it plays during like the end credits.
Oh well, yeah, that's more like money grab.
Brent, if you can have one superpower, what would it be? Probably. I mean, I think if what does it have to be like a superpower? Like is immortality a superpower? Maybe like Wolverine. I like the idea though of like being able to appear anywhere.
Oh yeah.
I think that would be cool.
Yeah.
But I think if you lived forever, you could like learn so much. But I think you would also, have all the tragedy of knowing everyone that die and like seeing like maybe this is like end of society. Maybe being able to maybe omniscient or be everywhere all at once. Omnipresent.
Power. Yeah.
By the way, Werner Herzog. Let's see. I just found Jungle Book movies were good. Jon Favreau and Andy Serkis. Andy Serkis is great because he's like the go-to guy for motion capture for mocap. Yeah.
But for example,
Kiss of Life says he'd like to fly.
For example, The Little Mermaid was another
that was highly controversial
film. Yeah, made
because it's where you get into the race swap territory.
Yeah, I think it was made based off political decisions, maybe.
I don't really have. I think she does a great job in this, actually. But I don't think. I thought it was kind of an interesting, choice. I think this movie was like so controversial. It's like I didn't really want to go near it with a 10-foot pole. But I think the biggest weird thing about it is that like the dad is from Spain, her sisters are all different races. It doesn't really make sense. It's like it's kind of confusing.
It is.
But I think she does embody Ariel. Whether that I think was the direction to go or not, I don't know. But I think she did a good job. And listen, if you're an actor and you get a job in a movie like this, you're going to take that job.
Of course. Yeah.
You're not going to not take it, especially if you don't have a huge resume. I know she's a singer, but she's not, this is a big opportunity.
Yeah.
So,
which is interesting because I then think that she returned to music more.
Yeah, I don't think that like she left this and like worked a whole bunch. I know she's done some little romantic comedies here and there, but it's this was I saw this in the theater and I remember I walked in like it was all gay men because it was late at night on a and it was like I was like so many gay men also relate to this to the Little Mermaid in general because like it's like she's like a fish down there, so it's like she doesn't have any you know parts.
Yeah.
So it was. I mean, there's been a lot of studies about why so many people. And then Ursula is based off of a famous drag queen, Divine.
Yeah.
So there was some like the people behind Little Mermaid were very into that world, so they were kind of tapping into the psyche of like queer people, you could say. And I think that really proved to be true when I walked in the theater. Like everybody.
That's very interesting.
And they were all like, they were like gay men in their 30s and 40s.
I really enjoy the music from this film.
I do too.
The original, I mean, yeah.
I love it.
I didn't watch the remake also.
I want to be where the people are.
But yeah,
I want to see them dancing.
It's great, yeah.
I love it.
But yeah, if you watch the remake, let us know your thoughts.
He says, Adlaz says, why does it have to make sense? I thought it was cute, except the Aquafina part is where it was annoying. Yeah, I agree. There was a comedian that they put in there.
Oh yeah,
that was like so
she's heavily criticized as well.
Well, and again, you know, it's because again they like gender swapped. You know, Scully, the seagull.
Yeah.
And was it Scully or is that what it's called?
I think so.
But yeah, a lot of people just thought it was super annoying.
Yeah, I mean,
I get it. I also think that like the comedian bringing their work, sometimes they don't know how it's going to look inside of the whole project. Whereas the little dragon in Mulan was totally charming in the animated movie. Yeah. And so I didn't watch the live action Mulan, but in the animated movie, I think it was Eddie Murphy.
I think
that was a great voice performance of the little red dragon.
Yes, he's so much fun. He's like,
absolutely. You guys were 2 super chats away. Don't forget to leave a super chat.
Yes, please do so, guys. But just to close out this section, guys, we have to. I mean, we will cover a little bit about the Moana case because it's relevant. Not only because it's a demonstration of maybe a failed remake, but it's also a recent case of people actively saying we won't watch this because if you only gave us this, then we will not go to see your movies anymore. So I think that's
just
also
like a shot for shot remake, and this looks borderline animation in and of itself.
Yeah, I
like
mean
the fact that her ore is so like digitized and his thing is
the lighting looks very like digitized.
It looks like staged.
Yeah, like almost.
Well, I was joking in my mind. I was like, we could put up a green screen and like film a whole movie, and as long as we lit Jimmy right, we could like add in the background. You know what I mean?
I think all studios are doing that now.
Yeah, they are. That's called like they're the black box shooting, like filming in a, you know, Ben Affleck recently came out with a company. Yeah, and they call it like gray box or black box, but he sold it to Netflix. But there's a new movie coming out by the guy who did Jumper, and it's Doug Liman. And Gal Gadot's in it. Some other big stars are in it. But it's like they filmed the whole entire movie in like a green screen type-esque area. So where like the lighting is adjusted as if they're going in these, but the whole thing is like fake backgrounds. And so they're going to test it out to see like, how can we make a movie with real actors and everything around them is fake? Yeah. Which you could argue that they're already doing that, but it's like literally we're not even going out into the Pinewood Street. We're doing it in a black box.
Well, yeah. I mean,
we'll see. I think that's very, very interesting. I think I'd be curious to see. I think it's a good experiment, but I think it's a little bit scary in terms of the traditional filmmaking. But let's see. I'm really curious to see this.
We'll see.
Lyman,
but
how it does.
It definitely feels like some CGI effects are not like getting up there in terms of quality. I would say. And so the live action Moana is the perfect current case study because it did not bomb out of the gate. It actually opened #1, but it underperformed expectations with about 43 million domestic and 95 million worldwide against a reported 250 million production budget.
Plus the marketing budget of at least 175 million. So
analysts have pointed to factors like market saturation, competition from other family films. Minions, I think right now is also
underperforming. Yeah, Monsters and Minions. I think there's also some brand confusion because there's like Monsters Inc.
Yeah,
which was like a Disney property.
Yeah,
and then there's They like it was called Monsters, and so it's like people were confused about what the premise was.
Yeah.
For monsters and minions.
Yeah. And another factor is possible fatigue after Moana 2's huge 2024 opening.
Yeah, like that one did really, really well. And so it's like, do we need a copy of the first movie when the sequel just came out? In a way, it would actually make sense for them just to go ahead and make Moana 3.
Yeah.
You know, and Disney animation. I'm all for them making movies. The only problem is that this is like, it just feels so hollow.
You know, I always wonder, like, what was the reason behind wanting to make it
good point, John Scott,
like a live action film? I think animation is amazing. You can do amazing things, as we saw with Puss in Boots, the Final Desire.
Well, those are sequels, right? Or spin-offs.
Yeah. But I do think, for example, with like this type of animation that blends, you know, 2D animation, 3D animation, that's kind of like we should aim for, right? Like maybe doing some more innovations to animation and not necessarily reusing it just to make the live action thing.
I think we're still learning. There's like a learning curve. And I think also like what our audience, I think also this is one of the first movies that's like a victim of our access to AI.
Oh yeah.
And I think Avatar, the last one too, probably didn't like perform as well because people are comparing it to like they know that they've gone in and pushed a button because they just tested it out and been able to generate something. And it's like the biggest argument has been that it feels like someone uploaded the original movie to ChatGPT and said like, what would the live action version look like? And it's exactly what you would imagine.
Yeah.
Versus like making maybe some artistic and creative choices. Yeah. And you could argue that that's what happened in Alice in Wonderland because it was kind of inherently kind of twisted, you know? And so, but again, maybe the movie didn't work because there was such a reliance, or it's like this uncanny valley aspect to, that's not just about like, that's the point that was made, that was coined into Japan, where it's like a robot kind of looks like the original thing, but it's not quite the person. I think the same could be said for the environments. When the environments are so like fake, and like, and remember Alice in Wonder came out at the height of like 3D craze.
Oh yeah.
So that was like so gimmicky too.
Definitely.
So there was a lot of pushback behind that as well at that time. If you guys are new here, don't forget to like the video.
Yes.
And subscribe. But I think Moana is like just a perfect example where it's like they had to kind of create everything digitally anyway. So it kind of made it like, why do we need to make that as a live action? Where Cinderella makes a bit more sense.
Yeah, for example.
And Kenneth Branagh, I think, did, you know, according to like the critics, like did bring more like a level of human sincerity to it.
Also, for example, Cinderella is a bigger, you know, more iconic piece of Disney's catalog.
Especially so far away.
Exactly.
Like in the past, like 50s, 40s.
While Moana's still, you know, pretty recent and also not as recognizable maybe.
Well, they literally they brought back the same guy to play, you know, whatever his name was. Maui.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So Moana may not be
not 8 feet tall. Not 8 feet.
Moana may not mean the end of the Disney live action remake, but it may be a warning that audiences can tell when a remake is too close to the original to feel necessary.
Yeah.
And too artificial to feel magical. Because that's the whole Disney idea, right? Like to bring these magical, fantastic ideas come to life.
Yeah, we should feel transported.
Yeah.
And if it feels like it's just a shameless money grab, which is I think that's the point, is that it feels like that. So if it's a shameless money grab, then it's like, where's the magic?
Yeah.
Whereas like, we know you're going to pay ticket. Well, actually, you didn't know because they didn't show up in the numbers that they wanted.
Yeah. Yeah. So chat, best Disney live action remake. What is the best one in your opinion, and what is the worst in your opinion? Let us know.
I mean, obviously, Snow White was a huge disaster. I mean, there's no reason to even go near that. I think a lot of people think that that Alice in Wonderland and Aladdin were probably like the better ones, but even those got a lot of criticism.
Yeah.
Because in the Aladdin, like there was, you know, it's so hard to top like Robin Williams' performance as a genie, let's say. And I don't think the actors that played, you know, Jasmine and Aladdin were like so magical that like people we weren't talking about them on our way out of the theater.
Yeah.
You know, a whole new world of dazzling.
Which also has like very, very good songs.
Yeah.
So
I love the songs.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we don't even have to touch on like superhero fatigue, because that's been, I think, talked about at length, but we will see how Doomsday does
Will I
at near
mean?
the end of the year. I'm curious. I think people are excited for the return of Robert Downey Jr., but I think it's also kind of like there's this fear of trying somebody new. So it's like just, reusing someone. He's very similar to me, like in terms of like his creative choices to like Johnny Depp, because they're both like they make kind of like wild choices. Like Robert Downey Jr.'s characters are very like narcissistic and self-indulgent and kind of charming in that way, in the sense that they're so shameless.
Yeah.
Whereas Johnny Depp makes really flamboyant choices that are like borderline like feminine, or like, it's kind of like people describe Pirates of the Caribbean like a gay pirate almost. And they're not wrong necessarily, but it's like, the drunken stupor turns into almost like this like level of almost borderline like gay performativity, which is interesting. But again, like Pirates of the Caribbean was based off of a freaking Disney ride. Yeah. So it just shows you like it's less about the source material and like execution. Like how do you truly execute the thing? And if Moana was like a shot by shot, like it was exactly the same.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing with this like film stills. That was
yeah, like for things to feel magical, there has to be something about it that feels like inherently new.
Yeah.
And that's what we're missing with Moana, is some like reinterpretation or just a reason for it to exist.
Yeah. And that was the section dedicated to Disney live action remakes. We can talk about a little bit about the sequel economy and when familiarity still works. Another
like Inside Out 2 did incredibly well. Like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, John Wick continues to do well. Scream continues to do well because they're staying relatively true to the source material. Yeah. Evil Dead Rise, I thought that was great. I saw that in the theaters.
Yeah.
Mission Impossible. That was kind of iffy because the budget got so crazy. But Toy Story 5 is doing well. Yeah. Bad Boys has done well. I think as long as it feels like a relatively natural continuation and you're staying true to like the heart and the soul of the original, then those kinds of sequels can work. Those are some examples of things that really did work
better. Yeah.
Yeah. Like audiences, like Scream, this last Scream was like one of the most critically like poo-pooed, but at the same time, it still was Scream. Like it's still, like they're going to make a Scream.
Yeah, you could see
it is the most financially successful Scream.
Yeah, you could see the like the originality coming from there. Avril says, to be fair about the remake of Beauty and the Beast live remake, you should know that they fixed a lot of plot holes from the original and added some songs they didn't choose back in time.
Well, Avril Dawson, that's good. I'm sure there are probably some plot holes around like the magic or like her father and and things like that. But I think Emma Watson is great. I just don't know if she's like she's a natural singer is all. But then you have some people who are natural singers like a Rachel Zegler who's not really beloved by the public, let's say.
Yeah.
So, but I listen, I love everyone who's in every Harry Potter is like, I love them.
Yeah.
It just shows you like the power of that property too and how well those movies were done. The original.
Yes. Yeah.
But I think franchise fatigue is probably like applies to certain properties, but not the ones I just mentioned, right?
Yeah.
Like people really still love John Wick. They love Toy Story, Spider-Man, Inside Out. I think Avatar we're kind of iffy because I think Avatar is where we're really going for the state of the art to see like where the technology is going and how far we can push it. And it is very fantastical. It does transport you to another world. Whether you're really invested in the story or not, I don't know. The story gets lost on me because the visuals are so like stunning that it feels like I'm like, what was it? What's the story here? Like, but I think, I'm curious to see if the next Avatar will do well because I think people are going to question like how fantastical is it with the advancements in AI, which is sad to say, but I think that's just a natural
course.
Yeah, that happens, but we'll see.
Yeah, definitely.
So audiences, they're increasingly asking like, did they respect the original movie in terms of these remakes? Do they give us something new? Do they justify the ticket price because ticket prices are so high?
Yeah.
Do the characters still matter to us? And does the movie feel like a movie or is it just starting to feel like content? And if it just feels like content, it feels like a photocopy that like with a bit more technology added to it, then that's not a reason to take your family out.
Yeah.
And Toy Story 5 is like the counterexample because it's performing well. But that's because I think Toy Story, each of those movies has like, and there have been criticisms to be sure, but I think those stories, they push the boundary of like what the original story was, and they established laws. Like for example, in Toy Story 5, like they established that the toys, like they go like inanimate when the people are around.
Yeah.
Like it's like I don't think that they can control it. I think it was something that they were saying there were some rules about the magic of like how the toys work that were established like in Toy Story 5 that they'd never really pinned down before. So audiences are not tired of like returning to worlds that they love, but they need to. They're probably tired of being asked to return for no reason. Like there needs to be like a real reason. But audiences, I think, that betray the trust of the audience are movies that betray the trust of the audience, like The Flash, The Marvels, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, Men in Black International, which they didn't bring back the original characters, and so the Ghostbusters 2016 film, which felt like a more of a political statement than a film. Hellboy in 2019, that was like famously a spectacular failure. And that was one of the main actors coming out of Stranger Things. The Mummy with Tom Cruise, like it just took away all the fun of the original Mummy. Charlie's Angels 2019, which kind of felt political as well. Fantastic Beast, they kind of just killed that off, that extension from the Harry Potter world. And then Matrix Resurrections was like was awful. I saw that in the theater and I remember leaving being like, why? Like what? I was like, no. So I think that's where like it really stripped away like audience trust. And trust is it's like, credit. You spend it, you build it, you lose it. So you build up a lot of goodwill, let's say, over time. You build up a ton of goodwill with your audience, and you want to make sure that you're staying true to that. And I think Toy Story is an example of where they're doing that, still to this day. And then these other things like Moana, it's like they probably should just made Moana 3 versus making a live action version of it.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to learn that there needs to be some time in between the remake and the original. I think sequels are fine.
Yeah. Avril asked something I'd like to know: is the animated movie Coco from Pixar bombed or was a success? Because now I see it's highly appreciated on social media, especially Instagram.
I have to remember. I don't remember. I don't remember how financially successful it was. You have to pull it up. I want to say it was a financial success.
So it says that Coco was a massive success for Disney and Pixar. It grossed over 800 million worldwide, won 2 Academy Awards, and became the highest grossing film of all time in Mexico just weeks after its release. So,
and a lot of people say what's the most successful Mexican film, and they'll say like Coco, but it's not really. It's based off of Mexican culture, like Day of the Dead, Dia de los Muertos, things like that. So yeah, I think people love Coco. I wouldn't surprise me if they're already filming a live action version of that.
I mean, it could be, yeah.
What year did that come out? Was it like 2016? Or was it earlier?
2017.
2017.
Yeah. So yeah, there you have it, Avril.
So there you go. There's the answer to your question. If you guys are watching, don't forget to like the video.
Yes.
Because we need 2 more super chats before we go, guys.
Alan Gray says,
if you're going to pay roughly $50 to see a lousy movie, you want, hey, Alan Gray, something more than a sequel, remake, and yet another Marvel movie. That's like $500 concert tickets. It needs a serious reset. Yeah, I think people love to see live music too, because even though they're seeing the same people, musicians, you want to hear them play their greatest hits. But like comedians, it's so interesting because like comedians, you have to be delivering new material every time. But I think there's something magical about like the live performance, and I think in some ways that's what they're kind of trying to go for with these live remakes. But it's not landing with some of these recent ones, in particular Milan and Moana.
Oh wow!
But then Lilo and Stitch did really, really well. But I didn't see it. Did you see the live remake? The live action, I didn't see it, but it made over $1 billion.
Yeah.
But Lilo and Stitch, people really loved that. But I was surprised that the live action did so well. But I know Lilo and Stitch, people just are so attached to that movie.
I think so. Yeah.
But that's another kind of Hawaiian movie, and I think that's also kind of pumped them up for thinking that Moana was going to work because it's another Hawaiian property.
Yeah.
And the Disney catalog.
Just as a quick note, I'm seeing here that they announced the Coco will have a second part, so it's in
So
development.
Coco Part 2.
Mm-hmm.
That makes
So,
more sense.
There you have it, guys.
Because I think that could be also creepy. So do we need Guillermo del
Yeah.
Toro to direct the live
Yeah,
action?
because you
version
see
of that?
like the skeletons.
Yeah.
But yeah, there you have it, guys.
All right, you guys, let's get 2 more super chats, and then we're gonna wrap it up.
Help us out, guys, and let us know what your thoughts are on remakes.
And then also this is Brent. Why do you think there's so few good movies out today? Gizmo. I mean, that's actually my next topic, was like, why are original movies, they're not dead, but they're harder to find. I think it's because a lot of like my favorite movies, like in my whole life, like, you know, As Good as It Gets with, you know, Jack Nicholson and Helen Hunt, like that movie would probably never get made today. But they both won the Academy Award for Best Actor in that, you know, in that movie. But it's because those are the kinds of movies that are not event worthy. And our televisions have gotten so good that now you can see a really high resolution image at home. So if you're going to watch like a family drama or something where it's like just like regular people, it's hard to justify going to the cinema and paying, you know, up to $25 per ticket if you're seeing it in a large format, especially. But, you know, but I think there are good movies, and one of my good movies this year was Send Help with Rachel McAdams from Sam Raimi. That was a good movie. So Send Help. I think another good example of a recent film, it's not from this year, but was like, you know, Oppenheimer. Barbarian was a good movie. The same guy who did that movie I was mentioning, Don't Move, he did the cinematography for, I think he did the cinematography for Barbarian. The Menu was a recent movie.
Yeah, that was good.
That was really cool. Civil War was a really interesting movie. I like the way, I thought they were going to, you know, zoom out a bit more, but I like how they kind of kept on there. Kirsten Dunst's character, the photojournalist. So Civil War. But I think it's just harder to find these bigger movies right now because there's just like there's so much. You're marketing for everything. You're seeing competition from every which way, and I also think like what we're looking for to truly satisfy us has changed. So like, whereas a movie will do that, maybe something on YouTube will be equally, if not more, emotionally or psychologically satisfying as to whatever it is that you were needing. Whereas before, like the movie was the only way to get that, or a television series. So I think it's just changed. Yeah,
most definitely.
What did it say? A Whole New World?
Oh, he was saying A Whole New World.
A whole new world.
Am I singing out of tune? You're good, Jim Winship. Your tune is way
good. Up here, it's crystal clear that now I'm in a whole new world with you. Yeah, that's a great song. That movie Talk to Me was so scary. That was another movie that's kind of broke through. But I loved Weapons. That was probably my favorite movie of last year.
It's very good.
Yeah. But Send Help is a good movie. Y'all go check that out. Send Help. That's from Sam Raimi. It's Dylan O'Brien and what's her name? I just said it.
Is it Rachel
McAdams? Yeah, Rachel McAdams and Dylan O'Brien on a desert island. And there's some great twists in there as well. So I really enjoy that film. It's about like, you know, survival and how the tables turn when you're on a deserted island. Like the old rules don't apply anymore. So there's a lot of cool stuff going on in that movie. So that came out. That was dropped or was released in January of this year. Really good movie, Send Help. Yeah. So if you haven't seen Send Help, go check it out.
Outloud says, I'd like to see the 7-year remade, but maybe with LGBTQ characters storyline instead of the original. Yeah, Adlad,
you make a good point. I just watched a documentary about Marilyn Monroe, about her death this weekend. I did like a whole marathon this weekend. It was like bam, 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 bam. And there was this guy who was like, he didn't really have an ultimate conclusion, but one of the big things is the government was like, we don't want, because she was talking to people. She was actually traveling back and forth to Mexico City and had friends who were communists. And you got to realize that like this was still during the Cold War. So a lot of people say like this, she was like killed, let's say, Marilyn Monroe. And Marilyn Monroe was the star of the 7-Year Itch. Yeah. That was like one of her last movies.
Yeah, with the iconic like dress flowing in the wind.
Yeah, but Marilyn Monroe is such an icon, such a beautiful face.
Yeah,
And like everyone they interviewed, like they all loved her. I thought that was really fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
Like everyone had something positive to say about Marilyn Monroe. And this guy had conducted these interviews back in the 70s and 80s. And like these tapes are just not coming to life in this Netflix documentary, which is really cool.
Yeah.
But in original movies, Gizmo are being made. The problem is that the original movies don't get the same like cultural oxygen, let's say, that some of these other movies. Because even if someone's hating on a movie like Moana, it's going to get a lot more oxygen in the room than, let's say, Sam Raimi's Send Help. So they just don't get the same built-in audience or the built-in backlash, you know. So they just don't get the same like, you know, meme infrastructure, you might even call it, because it's like you need the movie to be kind of clippable in a way. Like it needs to have like some, like people are like posting it. Obsession, that's how it grew so much too, is because there was so much push on social media for this new movie Obsession, which was a horror film by Curry Barker, is his name?
Curry Barker. Yeah.
But Send Help was an example of like, it seems like it should have made more. It cost $40 million to make, not including marketing, and it made 94. So it's probably like a break even type of thing. Maybe a slight profit.
Yeah. Brent, do you think the cultural makeup of the United States now makes it more difficult to put out good movies that will please all?
Do you think the cultural makeup of the United States now makes it more difficult to put movies out? Absolutely. I think that's just like a given. And I also think there's a radical diversification in terms of our options. And so, there are more options than ever. And then also, it's, for example, like Little Mermaid, it's kind of like, you don't want to go near that because it kind of feels like it could become like controversial from the person who's criticizing it. Because it's like, you're not really criticizing what, you know, it's like certain things it's like people may not want to engage with. I think we're seeing that with the Odyssey as well.
Yeah.
It's because they're afraid to like say anything because it's can become like, you know, it's like people create straw man arguments, and a straw man argument is where you whittle away the other person's argument and make it something very simple, and then you attack that thing that you just created.
Yeah. So
I think there's a lot of straw man arguments going on in terms of like cultural wars, let's say, when there's not really like for a lot of us, we just want great films. Like we want films that make us feel alive and make us feel or transported, you know, to another world, a whole new world, you know.
Yeah.
So, but I don't think Hollywood's stupid. It's just very like risk adverse. And so, you know, boardrooms are rejecting films, whereas in the past these would be greenlit. And I think as an individual producer too, you know, it can feel dangerous to go near a certain material unless you know it's going to do well. But then what we're seeing is like stuff that feels like a sure thing is not working. So, so I think this latest movie Obsession is a good example of like what's working in the marketplace today. That movie was made for $750,000, and I think has it passed 400 million?
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, like
that's really wild. Like that's just incredible.
Yeah. So it crossed to 426.7 million worldwide.
How much?
426.7.
That's like it's unbelievable. But it just shows you like people are really pushing that movie. So it's kind of like people are probably like racing to make the next Obsession. But I think because it made more money than I think we even is that how much did Weapons make? Because like Weapons, it was more like had a traditional like Warner Brothers big budget.
Weapons was 270 million.
I think that's crazy because
globally
wasn't Weapons. I mean, I haven't seen Obsession, but just from what I've seen,
I think it was better.
Right. But I think there was something kind of people really wanted to get down and support this independent YouTuber who's making a movie.
I think so. Yeah.
I think there's something there.
Yeah.
So I think there's something like there's like some grassroots movement still, you know, still in us to go support things.
Yeah.
It's just kind of baffling whenever you see that, and then you see the Supergirl made 100 million.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But you know, studios choose to remake a story or not with pre-awareness, you know, global title recognition, easier marketing, consumer, you know, product potential, streaming library value. Like when you're seeing all this grid of everything, like how are you going to pick which movie you're going to watch?
Yeah.
Well, the average consumer is not going to really know that this is a great film. They're going to probably click on something that kind of feels familiar, where they kind of know what they're getting. Which is why like packaging is so popular with any type of food item.
Yeah.
So you buy emotion. So you know, so the audiences, they don't really know what a risk it is for the studios. So, you know, they only feel the finished movie, whatever that outcome is, right? Whatever the outcome of the movie is. I loved Weapons. I thought Weapons was amazing.
It was good. Yeah, it was very, very.
Brent, before you guys leave today, I just wanted to point out that Mario did an amazing job on the board. I agree. He made this stream creative and exciting to watch. I agree, Gizmo.
Thank you, Gizmo.
Super chats for Mario.
Thank you, Gizmo, 100%. So much. Thank you so much, Gizmo. It's not just the US blockbuster movies are often made to appeal to international audiences, especially like Disney Picture trying to appeal to China for money.
Adlad, that's true, but I also think that like there's less and less of a dependence on that because they only get like 15 movies a year that they can get greenlit, like that are released in mainland China. And so I think there's been this less of a dependence. And I also think the audiences over there are being trained to not support our films because of the kind of ongoing kind of trade war and culture war. So I think some movies are doing well over there, but I also think there's inaccurate reporting because I started working in the movie theater space, and there's a lot of like false reporting in terms of like people actually going to see movies, but they're not reporting how many people are actually going to see it, and they're just keeping the money.
Yeah.
So which is sad.
Yeah.
And then you have some movies that feel like they should have done well they're from our tours, but they don't do well, like Rebel Moon. Did you hear about that from Zack Snyder? Like they gave him a bunch of movies to make these movies, and they just kind of got buried on the platform because they pushed it out at the beginning. Remember that movie with all of the like zombies with John? I think Dave Bautista, isn't it? There was like several stars in there, but some movies just kind of just get buried, or like Beverly Hills Cop, Axel got buried.
Yeah,
Roadhouse, Coming to America, Disenchanted, Hocus Pocus 2. So there are movies that like they know that they're not good, but they just get dumped on streaming and kind of get buried.
Yeah.
So Disenchanted was like the sequel to Enchanted, which Enchanted was a good film, but then they said Disenchanted was like, so it's interesting when the studio already knows they have a dud on their hand, so they just kind of dump it on streaming.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
And there's also harder to report.
It's harder to report like how well or how poorly it performed. Yeah, Mar. Yes. All right. So the question is Hollywood's remake machine broken? Not completely, but it is, let's say, malfunctioning. So the machine still produces hits from time to time. It still produces movies that people love. It just maybe it feels like there are less of them because there are, because they're not producing the same sheer numbers of movies that they used to, and it still produces sequels that matter, like Kiss in Boots, or Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, or Toy Story 5, and reboots that do work, and adaptations that deepen the source. But the machine is probably overused, and that's what we're experiencing right now. Is that it's just the machine is so overused that you can end up throwing the baby out with the bathwater. So there's a lot of great films that are getting made, but they're probably getting lost in this sea of remakes and sequels. And whenever a beloved story becomes raw material for extractions, audiences can feel it if it's just being used as like a source material to try to be a cash grab. So not all remakes are automatically cash grabs. And the sequel is not automatically, let's say, lazy, but it can be lazy. They can be lazy. And a reboot is not automatically creatively bankrupt, but oftentimes it is. An adaptation is not automatically disrespectful, but like with the Odyssey, the audiences can interpret that it is. So, I think there's a few exceptions that really, really matter here, like Top Gun Maverick. It really understood the idea of legacy. Creed worked because it understood like the inheritance of the story. Dune worked because it understood the scale and the seriousness of the story, like in terms of like the tone and just like the way they filmed it, and just doesn't feel CGI. Like they did a great job with protecting that. The Spider-Verse works because it understands the artistic, mood of that. I think this new Spider-Man movie is probably going to do very well. Puss in Boots worked because it found the emotion where like very few people expected it. I did not realize how emotionally moving that was going to be. Puss in Boots, The Last Wish. And then this movie Prey. Have you seen Prey?
No. Do you know who directed it?
It's Prey. But it was like, I think it was
from 2022.
I think it Prey, isn't it from I don't know.
It's probably
I have it on my list here.
2022. Yes. Yeah.
But is it part of the Alien or the Predator series? What is that one?
It says science fiction action horror film. Oh, I think I see it.
I think that one, it was like it went to streaming, but I think it was like I have it on my list, but we didn't really cover it, so we can gloss over that one.
Yeah.
But I think Hollywood's like the lesson is to stop remaking things that they don't really understand. Like if you do not understand the source material and like who your core audience is and what the messages that you're trying to transmit, or if you don't know how to change the message in a meaningful way, then you probably don't make that movie, right?
Yeah.
So, and we can't assume that the audience's trust is like infinite because it's not, and we're seeing that. So
yeah, this is a still from the movie, so it looks like it's
this is definitely the like Predator. Yeah, definitely from the Predator area. We were gonna kind of touch on this, but I also liked the Badlands too.
Oh yeah.
I thought that was a really good way to cover it. You guys, if you enjoyed this conversation, please hit the like button. It genuinely helps YouTube push the stream out to more fans, people who like movies, who like discussing these topics, and trying to dive deeper than just like the surface level of like film, and also just it's interactive. So you guys have been participating this whole time. John Scott, Adlad. Apparently, Amazon is banking on streaming to boost the numbers for their Masters of the Universe. We'll see if their game pays off. I don't think people liked that movie. I think that was demonstrated. But Adlad, have you seen that movie? It just pure cheese, like pure like CGI, like like just nothing burger. But we're building a channel where we can talk seriously about pop culture without making it boring, and where your chat is part of the show. So you guys subscribe, leave a comment. Leave a super chat if you'd like to before we go.
Yes.
If you're watching live, thank you for being here. And if you're watching the replay, leave a comment and leave your verdict. Let me know which movies deserve. I would love to hear people's comments on like what they think deserves to be made. What was like
what was a good remake?
Embarrassing.
Yeah.
Like what was just like what was an enhancement upon the original? That's an interesting topic. And what is the most unnecessary remake ever made? And what sequel or reboot actually justified itself? We'll be reading the comments and using them for future episodes. So thank you guys so much for watching.
Thank you guys.
Don't forget to leave a super chat. We love you guys. Thank you so much.
You can still help us out by super chatting.
You can leave a super chat anytime too.
Yeah.
So you can watch, even if you're watching the replay, you can leave a super chat.
Yeah. On
Mario did a wonderful job on the switchboard. It's a lot over there, guys. When I sat down, Mario's like, "Do you want me to we swapped places last minute?"
Yeah, but thank you guys. You make the show as well, so thank you for being here.
You really do.
If you have any last thoughts, guys, like like what are your conclusions? What movie do you think it should be remade? Which movie shouldn't be touched at all?
Yeah, some people are like, don't touch the Goonies, don't touch Gone with the Wind, don't touch blah blah blah. Some movies, it's like it feels like you can't go near them because it feels such like Back to the Future. Like if going near it will be too like there's no way to do that better. And I think that's probably true to a certain extent.
And I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
But thank you guys.
Thank you guys. All right, we're gonna do the countdown. All right. Because we got to go eat something.
Yeah.
All right.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Thank you guys.
Thank you guys so much. Don't forget to like, subscribe.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment, let us know. And also, there are a lot of movies out there that are from the earlier days, but they actually are remakes of silent era movies or movies at the beginning of sound.
Yeah.
So you might be surprised, like what movie you really like actually was a remake.
Yeah.
Or at least has some source material. Bye, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys so much.
Wasn't there talk about the Goonies getting a sequel? Probably Adlad, but I think the Goonies is like it's very dangerous to touch that property because it's so beloved.
Yeah.
It's like 80s gold. So touching the Goonies is like a dangerous thing. You guys put it to heart. You can leave stickers, all that good stuff. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
The movie Giant, Don't Even Try, right? Because of life. You're talking about a movie with James Dean.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
That's funny. Yes, we will. Thank you, guys.
Bye. It's starting to rain now in Mexico City, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Thank
Bye,
you,
guys. Eat something before Jimmy comes back and eats everything, right? Dag Overhaul, you're not kidding. Bye, guys. We love you. Bye. Thank you.